So, hello everybody.
Hello everybody.
Is it live? I think it's live.
I think it's live. Things are happening.
Things are happening. So, Johnny can't be in tonight because he's going to see something called Elvana.
Yeah.
And what's that, Mark? Elvana.
Apparently it's an Elvis Nirvana tribute, which I wouldn't mind seeing myself one day.
I ain't going. You'll have to take him, Johnny. I ain't going to that shit. So that should be amusing. Margaret can't come tonight, but she's going to watch it a bit later on. So we might be a bit short on the ground tonight, but that's all right, isn't it?
Well, DJ's here, Linda's
here, Linda's
Cosmic.
here, Cosmic's here. Bloody
So
hell.
we've already got.
Oh, if everybody likes doing gardening, go and have a look at Cosmic's channel because he's an amazing gardener and he's got these things he does with copper wire, and it makes all his plants grow really well. So go and have a look at that. Right. Marie Susan's in.
Hey, Marie Susan, so good they named her 3 times.
Yeah. So no, seriously, we're going to give that a go, Cosmic. We're going to give that a go. I know Linda's going to give it a go with the copper wire, but you've had some amazing results with that. So go and have a look at Nick's channel. Oh, I've doxed him. I've doxed him. So guys, I think we've well, I think I've gone a bit above myself this week, and
I've gone below myself.
Mark's gone below himself.
So somewhere in the middle.
Still bang average.
We're average.
I've gone and got myself all
on the same level
because I kind of was a little bit more organised this week, and
I was more disorganised,
and I had a bit more time, and so I started messing about with PowerPoints. Yeah. So I think it's probably all going to go wrong. And for a start, I saved the PowerPoint so that I can't change it. See if anybody can spot the deliberate mistake.
Yeah, we'll get an extra point for that in the
quiz. There's no points.
No.
So anyway, this could all go terribly, terribly wrong because I'm trying to be clever.
It's our inimitable style. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Winging it.
Mark always says, "Oh, I ain't done nothing." Oh, and he's always, of course, he's pulled it out of the bag. You know,
we ain't done it yet.
You have pulled it out of the bag, Mark. Sorry, Marie Susan, we didn't do Egypt. He had another thing on his mind. But there might be a bit of Egypt involved.
Yes, indeed so.
So, honest to God, this is going to go terribly wrong. I've just got a feeling. But just bear with, because I don't know.
You're really drawing in the crowds now, Liz. Just get on with it.
I don't know how to sell it.
Well,
I'm just going to... Here is the news-ish.
There's no point selling it, because if they're watching it, they're already here, aren't they?
Already here.
So get on with it.
Right. I got to do the sharing, and then it will be everybody learned, Linda. So I'm going to do the sharing. So then we go into what's he doing?
I'm limbering up.
What's the matter with you?
Getting ready for it. I'm limbering.
He's never done that before.
Well, is he?
He's probably on. He's on the old. Right. So bear with. Stop doing that.
I've got to energise myself.
Oh right. Christ! So this is all going to go wrong. I've got to share it, and then it's got to go all infinity. And then I'm going to go into my PowerPoint. And then when the PowerPoint talks, I've got the PowerPoint to talk. I'm going to have a talking PowerPoint, but I've got to remember when the PowerPoint's talking, I've got to shut myself up and press a button. So, oh Christ, bear with it. Should I just get on with it now? Get on with it, Liz. Right, okay, get on with it.
Yeah.
So share, get on with it. I'm a bit nervous, you see. Can you tell? Because this is new technology. Right, share. Right, bear with. So I've got a PowerPoint. Look, I've got it already. Ta-da! Look at that!
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm seeing, but I'm not believing.
Whose bloody turn is it?
Oh.
Right, so hide that bit. Okay, this is the news. I mean, they hadn't bombed Russia when I wrote this, so maybe I would have done something on that, but this is what I've done it on. So, seeing is not believing. Let me have the ball. The power of 3. Fingers crossed. I'm a bit nervous about this. Right. The power of 3. Omni trium perfectum. Latin. All 3 are perfect. 3 is the smallest number to make a pattern. There is geometrical sturdiness in a triangle. It is easier for us to make an emotional connection with the number 3. So 2 and 4 don't quite cut it. It is very easy to quote. We're going to do a quick quiz, but there's no prizes for this one, and Mark's not going to be writing it down. This is just a little bit of fun. As quickly as you can, write in the chat box anything that comes in threes. For example, 3 blind mice. Education, education, education. That was a quote by Blair, by the way. Red, amber, green. So what things can you think of that that are in threes usually? And we'll have a little look. Threes. I'm going to do the music. It's not a quiz. You're not getting a prize for this. It's just a bit of fun. 3 things. Write them down, Green Tea. Don't just say primary colours, my love. Don't just say primary colours. What are they? Oh, forget that. I want to see. Don't just put Napoleon ice cream. Pink, brown, blue. But you make a fair point. Primary colours, red. There we go. Oh, now Israel Diego Rivera, Genius 2, the real genius. You have to go and see his channel. He's here. I know, that's what I just said.
Right. Sorry.
Seriously, you have to go and see Israel's channel and go and subscribe. He's my new favourite. Don't tell Ben. But honestly, he does absolutely fantastic videos. Mari, you're like the one he's done on Grayson Perry, because you like a bit of art. But you're like this, Israel. But yeah, no, he's on the money. So the things that come in threes. Have we Larry Mo Curly? Nice. Strawberry vanilla chocolate, nice. Right, okie dokie. So let's do. We've done that. We've had a little go at that. How did you do? Did you get any of these? 3 Little Pigs, Birth, Life, Death, Morning, Afternoon, Evening, the musical chords, which I know nothing about, Root, Third, Fifth, Proton, Neutron, Electron, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, 3 Kings, Mind, Body, Spirit, Red, Green, Blue, Length, Width, Height, Circle, Square, Triangle, Heaven, Hell, Purgatory, Gold, Silver, Bronze, the Holy Trinity, Breakfast, Lunch, Dinner, Beginning, Middle, End, the blood cells, red, white platelets, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. There's absolutely loads and loads and loads. So, why? Mind control. What about these little numbers? Did any of you think of these? Build back better. Hands, face, space. Stay at home. Protect the NHS. Save lives. See it, say it, sort it. Stay alert. Control the virus. Save lives. Catch it, kill it, bin it. Now, how about the next 3? Controversial, this next bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Lest we forget. Veni, vidi, vici. I came, I saw, I conquered. Now, according to Liz, Julian Caesar said that. As you can see, there's the deliberate mistake.
Yeah.
Julius Caesar, obviously. Or to quote, now let's hope this goes right, or to quote another Roman emperor.
Yes, we came, we saw, he died. Did it have anything to do with your visit?
And I just want you guys to know, it's the way I've taped it, recorded it, that makes the lip sync out. So anything I do on here, if you go and look it up yourself, the lip sync is absolutely perfect. It's just the way I've recorded it because I don't know what I'm doing. So that's just a little bit of a glitch on my part.
Yes, we came, we saw, he died.
Horrible bitch. Right.
Mark just said horrible bitch. I don't know if he's talking to me or not. Deep fake technology. It's here. It's better than we are allowed to know. It's being used against us. So let's go back to 1, 2, 3. The first photo, number 1, unbelievable fake. The second photo, unbelievable fake. The third video, a believable fake. Don't take my word for it. Let's look at some deep fake technology we are allowed to know about. We're having a glitch.
Glitch in the matrix.
Yeah.
So, it's a little embarrassing, you know. Reminds me, I was once in Russia. I ran into Gorbachev. He said, "You understood a movie star. Are you nervous?" I said, "No, Mr. Gorbachev." Very excited. He said, "Well, remember how much a polar bear weighs?" I said, "Polar bear?" He said, "Enough to break the ice." It's the last time I've ever seen a cow Gorbachev. What's on TikTok? You guys call that message once.
Can you hear it?
I love it. It's an audio experience. As much as the momentum. Hey, listen up, sports and TikTok fans. If you like what you're seeing, just wait till it's coming next.
That's good, DJ.
I'm gonna show you some magic. It's the real thing. I mean, it's all the real thing. So,
I am not Morgan Freeman, and what you see is not real. Well, at least in contemporary terms, it is not. What if I were to tell you that I'm not even a human being? Would you believe me? What is your perception of reality? Is it the ability to capture, process, and make sense of the information our senses receive? If you can see, hear, taste, or smell something, does that make it real? Or is it simply the ability to feel? I would like to welcome you to the era of synthetic reality. Now, what do you see?
I wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you personally for all the wonderful messages of support and for your understanding whilst I've been recovering from surgery. It has been an incredibly... I wanted to take this opportunity...
So we'll just leave it at that. You decide. I know some people say, "Oh, it's because they had the jibber jabbers." Of course, they didn't have the jibber jabbers. Stop being ridiculous. They did not have the jibber jabbers. If they've got cancer, they certainly wouldn't be having chemotherapy. Don't be so ridiculous. So can everybody hear me? I hope so, because I just went off on one then. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. And the more I looked at these deep fake things, the more I don't know. I just feel like it just didn't look real. It didn't look real. And like I say, go and have a look at Israel's channel, because he does a lot better job than I do. But that was just my little thoughts on it. So you decide. And what I thought was interesting, I've never noticed this before, on this photo from They Live, in the background, there's a book on Edgar Casey, ESP. Like Second Sight. Very interesting. All right, guys. Well, I hope that was okay. That was my first PowerPoint presentation on here. So let's get on with our quiz.
People can hear us. Yeah, I noticed the the Kate one, you know, and it's got in the top right, courtesy of BBC Studios.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good point. There we go. Okay, guys, shall we get on with our quiz? Let's do it, I reckon. Let's do it.
Thanks, Green Tea. She said you did great.
Oh, thanks, Green Tea. I did that this afternoon whilst eating tea cakes. Right. Okay, let's get on with our quiz. Fingers on buzzers, please. Okie dokie. Let's get this on. Let's get this on. Right. Question number 1. Which man-made chalk and flint caves are situated in West Wickham and extend 260 metres underground? Hellfire Caves, Wookey Hole Caves, White Scar Caves, Merlin's Caves. This doesn't want to work today. God knows.
It's experimental mix.
Prog rock. Here we go. Oh, Hellfire, Wookey Hole, White Scar, Merlin's. Oh, blimey, technical difficulties. I was expecting the technical difficulties for the PowerPoint. Not this big a shit. What the hell's going on here? Oh dear, I knew it was going to all go wrong today. There we go. Now, did anybody say Hellfire, Mark?
DJ got in there straight away with the Hellfire.
Well done. Now, this is a weird old place, mind, to this day. I've got a bit of learning with this one. The Hellfire Caves, also known as the West Wickham Caves, are a network of man-made chalk and flint caverns which extend 260 metres underground. They are situated above the village of West Wickham at the southern edge of the Chiltern Hills near High Wycombe in Buckinghamshire, southeast England. They were excavated between 1748 and 1752 for Francis Dashwood, 11th Baron Le Despencer, 2nd Baronet, founder of the Society of Dilettanti. There's always a society involved.
Yeah.
And co-founder of the Hellfire Club, whose meetings were held in caves. I'm going to move my ball over here.
Move your ball.
Yeah. Hellfire Club was a term used to describe several exclusive clubs for high society rakes. A rake is short for rake hell, analogous to Hellraiser. It was a man who was habitually immoral conduct, particularly womanizing. Often a rake was also prodigal, wasting his usually inherited fortune on gambling, wine, women and song, and incurring lavish debts in the process. Cad is a closely related term. Comparable terms are libertine and debauch. Hellfire clubs established in Britain and Ireland in the 18th century were most common. I can't even read. The name most common referring to the Hellfire clubs is Francis Dashwood, the Order of Friars of St. Francis of Wickham. Such clubs, rumour had it, served as the meeting places of persons of quality who wished to take part in what were socially perceived as immoral acts. Immoral acts in caves underground? I don't believe in it. And the members, this sounds like fake news conspiracy theories to me, Mark.
Yeah.
And the members were often involved in politics. Conspiracy theorist, Mark. Neither the activities nor membership of the clubs are easy to ascertain. The clubs allegedly had distant ties to an elite society only as the Order of the Second Circle. The caves have been operating as a tourist attraction since reopening in 1951. And if you go on their website, which I did, you can book it for your wedding, children's party, or go on an Easter hunt. So
That's nice, isn't it?
Absolutely lovely.
Yeah.
But I mean, do people seriously think that these things still don't happen in caves? You know, societies and debauchery and nonsense. That wouldn't happen. That wouldn't happen. Well, it's always happened.
They've got more air conditioned and
More air conditioning.
more, central heated caves.
Question number 2. What is Cotard syndrome? People develop the ability to speak in a foreign language. People believe they're dead, dying, missing parts of their bodies, or don't exist. Or people imagine sounds like gunshots, cymbals, or explosions going off in their head as they try to sleep. What is Cotard syndrome? All of a sudden, you can speak a foreign language. People think they're dead. Or you can hear gunshots going off just before you go to sleep. Wouldn't want either of them, pal. Well, no, that foreign language one would be all right.
I suppose, yeah.
Going on holiday or something.
Useful, yeah.
Okay. Did anybody say that Cotard syndrome is people believe they are dead, dying, or missing parts of their bodies, or they don't exist? Did anybody say that, Mark?
Well, but
Nobody learned, Andy.
Oh,
Oh.
no one's got that one.
Well, they have now.
There was a few with sounds explosion, and there was a couple for the foreign language. But no one.
No
said
bloody, no bloody points for that one.
Nobody learned, Mara. That's right.
Cotard syndrome, also called walking corpse syndrome, is a condition wherein the patient believes they are dead, dying, missing parts of their bodies, or don't exist. Some people with Cotard syndrome may stop speaking or eating since they believe they're dead. I know some people that are... shut up, Liz. Number 3. Fingers on buzzers, please. What is the uncanny valley? The perception of a recognizable image or meaningful pattern when none exists, or is intended, for example, e.g., the face of Jesus in a tortilla. Is it a sense of unease in response to human-like robots? Is it the ability to lose personal boundaries online and deviate from your normal behavior? Uncanny valley, Jesus in a tortilla, creepy robots, or a keyboard warrior? We know a few of them, Mark, don't we?
That sounds like some good song titles for an album.
Nope. Who was the first to say that the uncanny valley is a sense of unease in response to human-like robots?
Unease, Linder.
Linder?
Is it Lind? Hold on.
She ain't got 7 R's in her name.
Well, we are West Country.
Well, you ain't.
No, well,
It's supposed to be Essex, mate.
Linda was first with unease.
Yay, Linda!
Well, she just popped in after Johnny Fettler said he'd popping in on the way to the gig.
Oh!
Nobody learned, Andy.
No,
Thanks,
Linda
Johnny.
learned.
But Linda learned.
Linda learned.
Straight in, very impressive to speak DJ there.
Well done, Linda. 12 hours. So this is taken from the website spectrum.ieee.org. No idea. So the uncanny valley is a concept first introduced in the 1970s by Masahiro Morai. No idea. Then a professor at the Tokyo Institute of Technology. Mori coined the term uncanny valley to describe his observation that as robots appear more human-like, they become more appealing, but only to a certain point. Upon reaching the uncanny valley, our affinity descends into a feeling of strangeness, a sense of unease, and a tendency to be scared or freaked out. So the uncanny valley can be defined as people's negative reaction to certain lifelike robots. Yeah. Okie dokie. Number 4.
Yeah.
What was Project SEAL code for? Project SEAL. A tsunami bomb, unidentified submerged objects, subsea military bases. Project SEAL, tsunami bomb, USOs, so unidentified submerged objects, or subsea military bases. Right, Mark, who was first with a tsunami bomb?
That will be DJ.
DJ.
Well done, DJ.
Well done. But they'd never use it, apparently. The tsunami bomb was an attempt during World War II to develop a tectonic weapon that could create destructive tsunamis. The project commenced after US Navy officer E.A. Gibson noticed small waves generated by explosions used to clear coral reefs. The idea was developed by the United States and New Zealand military in a program codenamed Project SEAL. The weapons concept was deemed feasible, but the weapons themselves were never fully developed or used. Of course they wouldn't. Of course they wouldn't.
Yeah, Murray says we've got heart now.
Yeah, oh God.
Yeah.
Right, number 5. A strange artifact is said to render people unconscious, open door locks, and identify treasure. What is it? A hand of glory? A clay corpse? A witch bottle? Render people unconscious, open door locks, identify treasure. Hand of glory, clay corpse, a witch bottle. Witch bot. I've got a few of them, I reckon. Right. Did anybody say, Mark Froud, a hand of glory? Nobody learned, Andy. I want a picture of this. No, I can't be bothered to keep going in and out of it. Google it. Google a picture of a hand of glory. It's bloody terrifying. From occultworld.com, the hand of glory is the severed hand of a hanged murderer, magically preserved. Once was used as a charm in black magic spells and was believed to aid burglars in breaking into homes and buildings. The hand of glory was the right hand of a murderer, ideally severed while the corpse still swung from the gallows, or cut during an eclipse of the moon. It was wrapped in a shroud, squeezed of blood, and pickled for 2 weeks in an earthenware jar with salt, long peppers, and saltpeter. It was then either dried in an oven with vervain, a herb believed to repel demons, or laid out to dry in the sun, preferably during the dog days of August. Once preserved, the hand was fitted with candles between the fingers. The candles, called dead man's candles, were made from the murderer's fat.
Yeah.
With I know, it's gross. With the wick being made from his hair. They actually did this. They've actually got mummified versions of this. In another method of curing, the hand of glory was bled, dried, and dipped in wax, so that the fingers themselves could be lit as candles. With candles or fingers burning, the hand of glory supposedly had the power to freeze people in their footsteps and render them speechless. Burglars lit hands of glory before breaking into a house, confident that the charm would keep the occupants in a deep sleep while they plundered the household. If the thumb refused to burn, it meant somebody in the house was awake and could not be charmed. According to law, once a hand of glory was lit, nothing but milk could extinguish it. Go and have a look at the pictures of it. It's gross. Or don't.
Teacher says they'd freeze and say, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah, that's why they froze, mate.
Green Tea said, "Who thought of this? Glad it wasn't my child."
Honest to God. It's interesting, though, the mad stuff that goes on
yeah.
this planet.
I thought it just made me think there was an old film, wasn't there?
Hold on, you want the ball? The ball?
No,
the ball of
it's not that interesting. Oh, Christ.
Oh, I love it. Back that.
No, there was. I just made the hand of the murderer. Made me think of. Was it Peter Lorre film? Wasn't it? Mad Love. I think it had a different name as well, but it was like someone lost their hands and they had the hands of a murderer, like
Oh
amputate
yeah,
put
yeah,
on
yeah,
them,
yeah, yeah.
and
So they
then
start going around
and
murdering
then the
people.
hands took over.
No, I remember that.
Yeah. Anyway, different thing. Complete tangent.
Number 6. What on earth is the Codex Alimentarius? Is it a secret club aligned with the Vatican? Codes to regulate pharmaceutical companies? Guidance on how to infiltrate protests? Recommendations relating to food production safety labelling? Codex Alimentarius, is it a secret Vatican club? Pharmaceutical regulations? Agent provocateur guidelines? Recommendations regarding food? Everybody. Bye, Johnny.
Yeah, bye, Johnny.
Enjoy the gig.
Yeah.
So, did anybody put recommendations relating to food production, safety, or labelling?
Yes, a few people, but DJ was the first.
Well done, DJ. So, just the Codex Alimentarius, or Food Code, is a compilation of safety guidelines and handling standards published. What's the matter? I thought you were going to say something.
No.
Published by a branch of the World Health Organization. Of course it is. It contains general principles that were agreed upon by most health professionals, such as how meat should be processed and the dangers of pesticides, as well as more specific instructions for the collection of testing samples and statistical analysis. Codex Alimentarius, the UN plan to eradicate organic farming and destroy the natural health industry. That is a book by Ian R. Crane.
Yeah, DJ's just saying he's got a video on it.
He addresses this. This is some blurb on the internet about Ian's book. Part of the New World Order agenda is to remove the requirement for food labelling and to restrict and ultimately prohibit the sale of all natural health products. However, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Behind the Codex Alimentarius Commission are the United Nations and the World Health Organization, working in conjunction with the multinational pharmaceutical cartel and international banks. It is now a criminal offence in parts of Europe to sell herbs as foods. An agreement called EEC 6565 equates selling herbs as foods to selling other illegal drugs. Action is being taken to accelerate bringing other European countries into harmonisation. I saw a clip somewhere that I was too scared to click on about how I don't know where it was, but because I was too nervous to click on it, they're going to ban people from growing vegetables in their garden now. So everybody, go and have a look at Nick's thing about the wire coil and how to make your vegetables better, how to make your plants better. Arseholes, aren't they?
Awaken your mind. Welcome. He says, rest in peace, Ian R. Crane.
Or yeah.
She? I don't know. But anyway, awaken.
Number 7. Fingers on buzzers, please. Which effect relates to the supposed tendency of technical equipment to encounter critical failure in the presence of certain people? Which effect relates to the supposed tendency of technical equipment, Christ almighty, well, whatever it is, we've got it, to encounter critical failure in the presence of certain people? Is it the Venus effect, the Pauli effect, the Dunning-Kruger effect, the observer expectancy effect? Venus effect, Pauli effect, Dunning-Kruger effect, observer expectancy effect. Venus, Pauli, Dunning-Kruger, observer expectancy. What effect makes mechanical things break down? Okie dokie. Did anybody say the Pauly effect, Mark?
Nobody learned,
Andy.
Andy.
Oh,
No.
so this is from spark.iop.org, whatever that means. Wolfgang Pauly's relationship with practical apparatus led to a phenomenon that became known as the Pauly effect. It is claimed that whenever Pauly entered a laboratory, equipment would suddenly break down. There are a number of documented cases of the effect. Pauly's visit to an observatory coincided with damage to a refractor telescope. When he was travelling on a train, the cars behind his carriage decoupled whilst he was carried on to his destination. And on Pauly's arrival at Princeton, an expensive new cyclotron caught fire. As a result of such reports, a university colleague banned Pauly from entering the laboratory. The legend of the Pauly effect led colleagues at a physics conference to set up a practical joke. They rigged a chandelier to come crashing down when Pauly entered the room. However, the apparatus becomes stuck and the chandelier remains suspended, which some have interpreted as a further confirmation of the Pauly effect. Pauly's exclusion theory won him the Nobel Prize. However, issues in his private life meant he sought out therapy by Carl Jung. Their influence upon each other is most notable in the theory of synchronicity, in which causally unconnected things reveal meaning to the seeking mind. So that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jung's well known for his work on synchronicity, but Wolfgang Pauly, lesser known, but had a great influence on Carl Jung.
Well, and known to us, but not the wider world, perhaps green tea. Can't wear regular watches, stops them every time.
Is it?
Yeah, you stop time, eh? Green tea.
Wow.
That's pretty amazing.
Right, number 8. Fingers on buzzers, please. In 1974, whilst in New York, John Lennon saw a UFO. Which song was this sighting immortalised in? Nobody Told Me, God, Out of the Blue, Whatever Gets You Through the Night. Nobody Told Me, God, Out of the Blue, Whatever Gets You Through the Night. All right, Mari, whatever to you too.
TJ put that as well.
Whatever. Trailer trash in the bloody chat box tonight, Mark. Right. Did anybody put Nobody Told Me? Nobody learned, Andy. Bloody hell.
No, it's Nobody Told Me, not.
All right. A line in the song is there's UFOs over.
Hang on.
Hold on.
Oh,
Awaken.
Awaken, yeah, just came
Awaken
in there.
got it.
Just came in there.
You've got a point.
Yeah. Rick Horns just strolled down this high street to catch a bus.
Oh.
Made it just in time.
Oh.
Hooray,
Well done, Rick.
Yeah.
Awaken. Got a point.
Yeah, well done, Awaken.
Yay.
Brilliant.
We retract our Nobody Learned, Andy, don't we, Mark?
No, Awaken learned.
Awaken learned.
Learned us.
Learned us.
Yeah.
So, a line in the song is, there's UFOs over New York, and I ain't too surprised. On the cover of John Lennon's album, Walls and Bridges, the following odd inscription can be seen. On the 23rd of August, 1974, at 9 o'clock, I saw a UFO. Lennon said he saw a thing with ordinary electric light bulbs flashing on and off round the bottom. One non-blinking red light on top, around 100 foot away, hovering over an adjacent building. Mm-hmm. He was with that other woman. What was her name? The other one.
What? My Lee or something.
No, the Pang woman.
My Pang?
My Pang. Is that her? The one he buggered off with? And My Pang or something?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what her name is.
Don't mean to be racist, but bloody hell. My Pang, is that her name? Anyway, he was with that lady. And he saw a UFO in New York and she confirmed it. You're supposed to know things like that, Mark Froud.
I don't know these things.
I'm sitting on a strange. I lost my blue. I lost my blue file, and I was sat on it. I lost my blue files on a nervous breakdown. I was like, oh my God, what if I can't find the quiz on the computer? I was sat on it. That was really uncomfortable. Mo Pang. Anyway, number 9. Pang. It was Pang.
I didn't bloody say it weren't. I don't bloody know.
You should. I thought you knew everything about the Beatles.
No, that was in his solo career anyway.
Which infamous pirate is said to haunt their former home in Bristol? Which infamous pirate is said to haunt their former home in Bristol? Blackbeard, Calico Jack, and Bonnie. Blackbeard, Calico Jack, and Bonnie. Bit of local knowledge there, Mark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You are. Who was first with Blackbeard,
Well,
Mark?
say local knowledge. It was a local man.
Oh, we stop doxing people.
Local man from
Essex.
Skegness. Cosmic.
Honest to God. Well done, Cosmic.
Yeah,
well done,
Cosmic.
Blackbeard.
Yeah, Brian just behind.
Oh, is Brian here? I didn't even know Brian was here.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Brian did
Hi,
say
Brian.
hello. Hello, Brian.
Blackbeard, formerly known as either Edward Teach, Edward Thatch, or Edward Thack, was thought to have originated from Bristol, England in 1680. There are plaques in Bath claiming he also lived there, apparently, Mark. I've seen one on the internet.
Oh, right. Well, you may have got about it.
It's not far, it's just down the road.
Down the road.
It's just down the
You
road.
could just go on the train.
He had a boat.
Only about 15 minutes from Bristol Temple Mead.
He was said to have come from a well-to-do, educated family. Robert Earl Lee, author of Blackbeard the Pirate, writes that undoubtedly the most recognisable feature of Blackbeard's appearance was, of course, his big black beard. According to Lee, it covered the whole of his face, its breadth extended to his ears, and its height almost to his eyes. He allowed his monstrous mane to grow to an extravagant length, and he was accustomed to braiding it into little pigtails tied with ribbons of various colours. There's a more interesting bit. To finish off his intimidating look, Teach tucked lit fuses underneath his hat, which gave off eerie coils of smoke. I think that's blooming genius. Blackbeard was first heard of as a pirate in late 1716. The following year, he converted a captured French merchantman into a 40-gun warship, Queen Anne's Revenge, and soon became notorious for outages along the Virginia and Carolina coasts and in the Caribbean Sea. At the request of Carolina planters, Lieutenant Governor of Virginia, Alexander Spotswood, dispatched a British naval force under Lieutenant Robert Maynard, who, after a hard fight, succeeded in killing Blackbeard. The pirate's body was decapitated, and his head was affixed to the end of the bowsprit of his ship. To finish off his... no, we talked about that. So anyway, yeah, from Bristol, apparently.
Yeah,
Blackbeard.
Well, yeah. We've had our pirate moments, haven't we?
We've had a pirate
I
moment.
was just going to get the pirate hat, but you've tied it to the skull.
Leave the bloody hat alone.
So people can't even see
They
it.
don't know what we're talking about.
No, well,
It's private business. It's private business.
No, it's pirate business.
Way! Ow!
Ow!
Right.
Number
10. Ever want to turn the steering wheel into oncoming traffic? Or stick your hand into a fire? Okay, well, some of us have. What is this phenomenon called? Is it called Death Curious, Call of the Void, Jump First Effect? Is it called Death Curious, Call of the Void, Jump First Effect? I had it today when you were in the car. I didn't tell you.
Linda said stupid.
I had it today, Mark. Honest to Christ, I had it today. We were playing White Stripes really loud, and we were coming up to that traffic light by Caution, and I was going quite fast. I swear to God, I swear I was having this effect. I didn't tell you,
Right.
but I just was going to go in the back of the car.
Right.
Okay,
All right. We're taking the bus next time.
we're taking the bus next time. Who was first, Mark, with Call of the Void?
That will be DJ the man
Oh, well done.
again. Yeah.
Honestly, I had it today. We were coming back from Chippenham, and got to Caution, and we're going quite fast, and then the lights stopped at the traffic light, and I just thought I was just going to plough straight into that. Didn't tell Mark.
Well, no.
No.
It didn't imply that you had a moment of,
What?
wanting to go into the void.
Have you never had the void moment?
No, as I caution, no.
Caution is the void. Caution is the bloody void. No, I did. I had that today. The call of the void is a phenomenon involving an impulse to jump or let yourself fall from a high place. While unnerving, it's not just that. While unnerving, it's relatively common and isn't necessarily a cause for concern. The call of the void is also known as high place phenomenon, HPP, since people often feel it when standing somewhere high up. You could also experience this type of impulse when doing other things that involve a high risk of danger. For example, call of the void can involve thoughts or urges to jerk the steering wheel and turn into oncoming traffic while driving, or jump into very deep water from a boat or bridge, or stand on train or subway tracks, or jump in front of a train, or cut yourself when holding a knife or other sharp object, put a metal object into an electrical outlet, stick your hand into a fire or garbage disposal unit. Would you be able to turn that fire off, or is it already off? I'm bloody boiling. So has anybody else had that? Because I've had it. I think Jerry Marzinski might have a word to say about why we
put gin in there.
Yeah, why we think things like that. I think maybe we think we're thinking it, and potentially we're not. It's not us thinking things like that. Because why would we think like that? I always say, if we're supposed to be like all about our race surviving, why would we self-harm? Why would we do these things if we're supposed to be inherently about survival of not the fittest, but surviving our race? We as humans wouldn't naturally do that. So I think there's something to be said for gin infestation.
As Linda said, it's a lie. That's
Yeah, it's a
Marzinski,
lie.
like you say.
I changed that, Linda. I changed it to fuck off, love you. So instead of saying it's a lie, but also I've got a new one, Linda. When I get intrusive thoughts, I imagine, because I'm getting quite vivid pictorial vivid thoughts now, rather than just words. I sometimes get pictures. So I imagine whatever the intrusive, horrible picture is made of glass, and I smash it and then sweep it up and throw it in a dustbin. I was talking to my clients about doing that.
Yeah, so Rick Horden said avoid the void.
Avoid the void. That's great.
Yeah. Awaken in spiritual terms. It's best to avoid the void in context to the bottomless abyss.
Exactly. Avoid the void. Yeah. I love that. Anyway, that was a bit of personal disclosure.
Revelation. I'm not getting in the car with Liz again. But
He's not getting in the car with me again.
I will be.
Well, yeah, because you don't bloody drive. No. So I'm not driving you down the pub. What the hell?
Green tea, I wonder if 5G or magnetic fields attracts them. Could well be.
Christ alive. I expect so. Right, number 11. Which group of indigenous people are well known for their Kachina dolls? Navajo, Apache, Hopi, or Sioux? I turned it off. Oh. I'm having a problem. I've got Paulie syndrome. God knows. Navajo, Apache, Hopi, or Sioux? Kachina dolls. God, I was getting a bit carried away there. I was in a world of my own.
It's the void.
I went into the void. It was quite nice. So, who was first with a Hopi?
All right, there was a few Hopis.
I noticed that.
Lots of Hopis.
I was literally in a little world of my own.
I believe DJ was
Oh,
the winner again. Just
would
beat
you,
Linda there.
Adam and Eve it? Well done, everybody.
Yeah.
Hopi in Native American culture. Excuse me, I think I'm going to hiccup. I've been doing that all day, haven't I?
Yeah.
I've been doing it at work as well. A kachina is the spirit of a deity, natural element, animal, or ancestor. The American Indian people believe that kachina spirits come to Earth every year at the start of the winter solstice until mid-July. Their purpose is to bring messages from the gods and good fortune to the tribes they visit. Kachinas are a representation of the sacred Native American belief that all things of the earth carry a life force. They provided a chance for Indigenous peoples to interact with and learn from this all-encompassing spiritual essence. Kachina dolls originated with the Hopi tribe. The Hopi were the first Indigenous peoples to create kachina dolls to teach children about their history and tradition. They were given to Hopi children during ceremonies, then hung on the wall and studied afterwards. Kachina dolls were made in the image of the spirits worshipped by the tribe. They were not toys to play with, but religious icons to celebrate and contemplate. Interesting, isn't it?
Oh, it's all interesting. Yeah.
I'm going to be like, by the end of the year,
Mm.
I'm going on Mastermind, mate.
Yeah, because you are absorbing all of this.
I'm
aren't you?
absorbing it all.
Yeah.
I remember everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, number 12. What is the first line spoken in the film Encounters of the Third Kind? Watch the skies. Are we the first? We are not alone. Who are you people? The first line in Close Encounters. Watch the skies. Are we the first? We are not alone. Who are you people? Oh,
Oh, blimey.
Christ.
That was an abrupt
I didn't do
key
that.
change.
I think that's enough. I'm going off on one. Shut up. Right.
Mhm. I think that Linda's been singing it today. I'm presuming she means a little tune.
Oh, have you been singing one of these, Linda? Or Close
Or
Encounters?
was it Close Encounters, maybe?
I keep doing it for my friend at work, and it makes her laugh. Makes her laugh. Apparently, just her.
Oh, yeah.
So, who was the first with? Are we the first?
It was Brian.
Well done,
Well done,
Brian.
Brian was first.
Yay!
Well,
All right.
yeah.
One of the nameless and virtually faceless men working for the US government. Hold on. Oh, I've confused myself. I haven't got any learning.
Oh, there's no learning.
There's no learning.
There's just a void underneath the answer.
So I thought this was a learning, but it's the next question. Hold on, I'm so
the answer to
confused.
the next question.
I think we might have 21 questions. I think I've put a question in, but I haven't put an answer.
Talk amongst yourself, people.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Well,
this could all go
you
drastically
can
wrong.
still have 19 questions instead of 20.
Listen. I think we've got 21. Anyway, moving on. 13 or 9. What is dendrochronology? Is it tree ring dating, the study of plants, the study of pollen? A nice little one there, look. Dendrochronology, tree ring dating, the study of plants, the study of pollen. Honestly, I told you it would all go wrong today, didn't I? Oh, look. We're going to stop now. They've all got it right. Well done, everybody.
Yeah.
I didn't have a flipping clue.
Well, impressive there.
So who was the first one with tree ring dating?
It'll be that man, DJ.
Well done.
Yeah.
Quick off the draw.
Yeah.
Yeah, no learning for that one either. Number 14. We're getting through these. Oh, there's a lot of learning there's a bit of learning for the next one. Very interesting, this one. Very interesting, this. Where in the UK was an elongated skull of an ancient queen unearthed? Avebury, Stonehenge, Woodhenge, Stony Littleton. Elongated queen head. Avebury. I am not having a lot of... Avebury, Stonehenge, Woodhenge, Stony Littleton. What do you mean you've dated worse? Bloody believable.
Right.
Who was the first with Stonehenge, Mark?
Stonehenge.
Ooh.
That I
Oh,
think
oh,
that was the
oh,
marvelous
oh.
Linda.
The marvellous
I
Linda!
believe so. I've had some
Lady
Woodhenges
Linda.
before, but Stony is Linda.
Linda is Stony.
Yeah,
It's not very nice.
You know what I mean.
Rude.
Linda is certainly not Stony in terms of her actual. Anyway,
What's he going on about, Linda?
Moving on.
Right, this is very interesting. I'm going to get this book. We were supposed to be seeing her next week at Legends Conference, but they've bloody cancelled. Oh, Cosmic, did you know that they've cancelled Legends?
Should have got an email.
Should have got an email. They've cancelled Legends in Glasgow, but we're still going up there. So I don't know if you still want to go up there and go out for a meal or something.
Yeah,
we're still going up there.
I think, yeah, people that
they're still like Pete and all that are still going up there.
Pete and Tony,
yeah,
going to come along. So.
Anyway, so Maria was supposed to be speaking there, and it's been cancelled.
I'm doomed never seeing her.
Doomed.
Every time she's been on, I've somehow missed her.
He's just doomed. Quote by Maria Wheatley. During my investigations of the Stonehenge environs, I made a fascinating, groundbreaking find and discovered the elongated people of Stonehenge. On the Salisbury Plain, not far from Stonehenge, I located the long barrow of a high-ranking woman of Stonehenge who was probably a high queen or high priestess. I tracked down her skull to a box in a university, met her face to face, and promised to tell her long-lost history and story of the world. The elongated skull people of Stonehenge were once the Neolithic rulers that laid down the ley line network and looked for a special type of earth energy. They were eventually murdered in the Stonehenge landscape. She then goes on to explain that there was a genocide of the long-skulled people. And from what I can gather, I haven't read the book and it's not obvious, the genocide was carried out by the round-skulled people. Who were the round-skulled people, Mark? Us. Well, not us. Well, us. We didn't kill anybody.
No.
But we killed the long skull people, apparently. The round skull people. But I'm going to get that book. It's bloody fascinating.
Yep. No, I'm well up for that.
Very fascinating.
I would like to read that, but
oh look, Twilight. Oh well, yeah, he didn't know.
Hey? Oh yeah,
Cosmic didn't know.
Yes, but yeah.
We'll forward you the email.
Yeah, we'll keep contact us because we'll as I say, people are still meeting up in Glastonbury.
Yes, if you still want to meet up, we still will. But we'll forward you the email after this. Sure, you might have got it. Have a look in your whatever. 15. Which boxer saw multiple UFOs? Was it Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather Jr., Sugar Ray Robinson? Who saw UFOs? Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather Jr., Sugar Ray Robinson. Oh, look, they've all got it. They've all got it. They've all got it. Well, that was unexpected. Don't do that for too long, I'll fall asleep. Who was the first one with Muhammad Ali, Mark?
Well, I'll give you one guess.
What? You can't. They're all doing really well.
Oh, of course, they're all doing
they're
well.
They're all doing well.
But DJ... He's straight in there.
Is he steaming ahead?
Just ahead of green tea. Just
steaming ahead.
It.
They've all got the right.
Yeah.
Except Linda. No, she's let herself down there.
Maybe she's just saying she wants some sugar in her tea.
Oh, she might be saying that.
I don't know.
She's not.
Anyway,
she's let herself down. Right. So the answer was Muhammad Ali. Well done, DJ. So Ali claimed to have seen a massive UFO mothership. that he was watched by ETs and that alien visitations were of tremendous importance to the whole world. That's just all the learning you'll get for that one.
That'll do.
That'll have to do. 16. Whose famous quote includes the line, "You are not machines, you are not cattle, you are men"? Who said that? James Stewart, Charlton Heston, Charlie Chaplin, Yul Brynner. James Stewart, Charlton Heston, Charlie Chaplin, Yul Brynner. You are not machines, you are not cattle, you are men. More power to him. Right, that's enough of that. Right, who was first with Charlie Chaplin, Mark?
Brian!
Yay, well done, Brian. Just go and have a listen to pretty much any of Jason Burmis's videos, and he has the whole quote, and it's very stirring. I'm going to read it to you now, but if you listen to Charlie saying it, it's obviously better. Yeah. Machine men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines. You are not cattle. You are men. You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate. Only the unloved hate. The unloved and the unnatural. Soldiers, don't fight for slavery. Fight for liberty. You, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then, in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world, a decent world. Oh, if you hear him saying that, it's all a little bit...
I mean, you know, I think with a lot of his films as well. Was it City Lights? There was one, you know, like it was sort of against the new technology and factories and things like that. But yeah, no,
it's a very stirring speech. I don't really know a lot about him, so I don't know if he's a goodie or a baddie, but that speech is pretty stirring, put it that way.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You'll say, DJ's put great dictator because he did a. Obviously, he's got some moustache to Hitler, and then he did a film, but taking the piss out of him.
Yeah.
That was
what was it called? The Great Dictator.
Indeed.
Oh. He liked young. Oh no, you're kidding me. He wasn't one of them, was he?
Well, how young are we talking?
How young are we
Mari?
talking? Well, I'm just sitting here now. How young are we bloody talking? Right. Well, right. 17. No clues. No clues for this one. What was Buzz Aldrin's mother's rather appropriate maiden name? No clues. This could be quite creative. What was Buzz Aldrin's mother's rather appropriate maiden name? I'm not looking it up, Mari. Bloody tell me. I haven't got bloody time for that.
I'm sure she's going to look it up.
Just put a number in there. We're talking
about Charlie Chaplin and young women.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
I know.
Oh, okay.
Are we talking over or under 16? I just need to know. Who was the first with Moon?
DJ.
Yay. So well Buzz Aldrin's mother was called Marion Moon. Interesting. We just leave it there. Interesting. Right, number 18.
I hope not, DJ.
Space Mother. What a brilliant name. Yeah. That would be brilliant. Once owned by Henry VIII, what was bought by Cecil Chubb at auction on the 21st of September 1915 for £6,600? The Tower of London, the Globe Theatre, Stonehenge, Hadrian's Wall. The Tower of London, the Globe Theatre, Stonehenge, Hadrian's Wall. And while you do that, I've got to find me pluggy in here. Quick. at that. Seamless.
Yeah.
Seamless.
Yeah.
I tell you, I've got Paulie syndrome.
Linda said his wife's head.
his wife's head. Bloody hell.
Oh dear.
Right. So, who was first, Mark, with Stonehenge? Nobody learned, Andy. Yeah, it's a bit surprising,
Oh, that's
isn't
the
it?
second Stonehenge answer.
It is.
But,
So the
no,
following is taken from the site racingnellyebley.com.
Well, I'm always looking at that. It's one of my favourite sites.
So this is what Racing Nellie Ebley's got to say about the matter. How in the world was Stonehenge auctioned? It was September the 21st, 1915. Sir Cecil Chubb, a successful barrister and businessman living in Shrewton, England, attended a local auction at Palace Theatre in Salisbury. His wife, Mary Bella Alice, had asked him to buy her a set of dining chairs. Fucking buy Stonehenge. That's fucking typical. That's like you. I asked him to go up the shop and get a loaf of bread. He comes back with fish fingers, bloody tea bag. Where's the bread?
Stone circle.
Where's the bread, Mark? Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, but I'd buy 2 stone circles, wouldn't I? I wouldn't just get one.
Anyway, according to some accounts, she asked for curtains. Either way, Stonehenge was not on her wish list. It wasn't long before Chubb's wife returned the ancient site. It's like me taking them bloody biscuits back at the shop. As if. October 26, 2018. Since Chubb's wife was not particularly pleased with his purchase, she impressed upon him the importance of the nation owning the ancient monument. In a special handing over ceremony, Chubb did just that. In return, he received a knighthood. Locals nicknamed him Viscount Stonehenge. Chubb made a number of conditions before handing over Stonehenge. The entrance fee should never be more than £1, and to this day, locals are given free access to England's most famous monument. As an aside, I've been looking this right up. As an aside, ticket prices range between £25 and £31 per adult, depending on the time of year.
It's a bit more.
And you've got to stand about 20 bloody meters away from the bloody thing. Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, moving on. 19. What spawned the first viral photo? So which photo went viral first? What spawned it? What was it? Shut up, Liz. A monkey called Naruto, a stripy dress, a giant potato hoax, a Banksy picture being shredded. What was the first viral photo? A monkey called Naruto, a stripy dress, a giant potato hoax, a Banksy picture being shredded. Oh, I've turned it off again. Christ. It's all going wrong tonight, Mark. Oh my God, there's an emoji of a potato. That's the best thing I've ever seen in my life. I think it's a potato. I think you should all answer the next questions with emojis. There's not enough emojis in the bloody chat. I've just realised that. Brian's potato spawned me on. Right, Mark, who was the first with potato?
Rick Horden.
Ray, go on, Rick. Woo! Now, a giant potato hoax spawned the first viral potato. But please, can you go and have a look at the monkey called Naruto? Because some bloke left his camera lying around and this monkey picked it up and took a picture of himself, and it's bloody brilliant. So just go and have a look at that. But it wasn't the first one to go viral. It was a giant potato hoax. So look at all that. That's more like it. Some pictures in the chat.
Ooh.
What are you oohing about?
No, well, Rick's done the hand thing, and that's.
Oh, he's done the hand thing.
Yeah, I can actually do it.
I can't do it.
No, but that was mentioned.
My turn.
Carry on.
The Maggie Murphy hoax was a hoax perpetrated in 1895 by W.L. Thorndike. He created an image that depicted Farmer Joseph B. Swan holding what appeared to be a giant potato. The photo rapidly spread around the United States and appeared in a panel of Ripley's Believe It or Not. With the help of local photographer Adam Talbot, they produced a photograph which appeared in an 1895 issue of the Loveland Reporter. It was implied the potato weighed 86 pounds 10 ounces and measured 2 feet 5 inches. Swan swore that he grew it himself. The image quickly spread around the United States. Over 1,000 citizens sent letters to Thorndike requesting pieces of Maggie Murphy so they could grow their own oversized potato. I grew mine. Requests for seeds were also common. Thorndike, realising that the photograph was beginning to get out of control, admitted that it was a hoax. He wrote that he had asked Swan to carve a fake potato out of wood. Oh, we got to laugh. Right, 20, we're there, everybody. We made it. Well done. In the 1927 film, which you all need to watch, I'm sorry, it's such a good film, Metropolis.
I've never bloody seen it.
It's bloody brilliant. In the 1927 film, Metropolis, what does Fredder hallucinate? Does he hallucinate that the machine is the giant mouth of Moloch, or Moloch, that the machine is a giant robot, that everyone has horns, that Maria is a winged angel, that the machine is Moloch, the machine is a giant robot, everyone has horns, Maria is a winged angel.
Rick said, Liz, did Mark grow out of the ground like Barbara Papa?
Yeah, you should have seen him. Should have left him there. Right, who was the first with that the machine is the giant mouth of Moloch?
Maury.
Get in, Maury,
Well done,
Marie,
Maury.
Susan. Well done. The hero Fredder, or Freder, I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it, has a vision of workers being dragged by chains into the fires inside Moloch's mouth. Well, they took that a bit too bloody literally, didn't they? There we go. So Mark has to do a bit of maths now.
A bit of mouth.
Bit of maths. We'll do the maths song.
Well,
there is
a huge amount of maths.
There's no maths song either.
There's a clear winner.
Oh, does
I
it
think
begin with a D?
Yeah.
Is there a J in the middle?
Yep. Yep.
Well done, DJ!
Well done, DJ!
Yay!
Superstar.
Superstar DJ. Everybody,
Right. Everyone contributed.
Everybody did very
There
well.
was lots of answers.
Lots of answers.
Right. Lots of right
Everybody,
answers.
because DJ never was a prize, send DJ an interesting emoji. That's it, DJ. Every time you win now, because you don't want a prize, give DJ an interesting emoji. They've got some funny ones on there. Like they've got pregnant men emojis now on my phone.
The Vatican has joined in now. What on a quiz?
The Vatican's joined in.
Oh, is that but the Moloch with the
Colosseum? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting emojis all round for DJ.
Yeah.
Well done, DJ.
Well done, DJ.
Oh Christ! Turn the noise off. Right. Now it's over to Mark Froud, but I've still got to do the pictures. No bloody rest for the wicked.
Right, okay. I'm going to apologise already from the get-go because I know...
But you don't need to apologise, Mark.
No,
you work all bloody week.
No.
You do amazing.
Well, I'm just saying this is a huge subject and it's fascinating and there will be more. So I see this as being an introduction to the themes of alchemy and the cathedrals and all these concepts. So gonna start.
What picture do you want up to start with for when I share in it? Because the first one you've got here is that. Would you want something before then, just as like a starter picture? I can find one.
We could have the Notre Dame Cathedral's got somewhere, haven't we?
That's a really good picture. It's not the actual cathedral, but it's a good picture.
Oh yeah, it's in that. Are those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But
and that's it. So there's that, and that. That's what we got, and then we got the other ones.
Yeah. We might be winging it, but anyway,
it's all good. It's all good
in our inimitable style.
It's free.
That's all right. No one can get their money back.
You get what you pay for.
Right.
Hold on. Let's face it to Mark.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that other people in the chat will have a lot more knowledge of things. Anyway.
Wait a minute.
All right. Well. Anyway, I can start talking.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, when Liz was asking me about the title for the talk, and I said the Alchemy of Time. She gave me one of those looks like, are you being poncy again?
You did, actually.
it is very relevant for 2 or 3. But so basically, as a lot of people know, well, maybe know, I mean, so there is the, excuse me, Falconelli book, The Mystery of the Cathedrals. So, but that in turn inspired this book by, I've got to get my fingers in bits of it, sorry.
Christ. Make it easy for me, won't you? Let go.
Oh,
Right. Okay.
all right. So yeah, Jay Widener and Vincent Bridges wrote this Mysteries of the Great Cross of Henday, Alchemy and the End of Time. So so as they talk about the Gothic cathedrals, Notre Dame in Paris and others, and this Great Cross of Henday, which we mentioned later, is showing how the science of transformation in alchemy relates to galactic time, and it's all linked with astronomy and the predictions of cataclysms, referring to cataclysms before and talking about cyclical time and looking to a cataclysmic time in the future. So it's related to the observation of the stars and the galaxies. So this, which we see again repeated in all these megalithic sites, mentioned Stonehenge a few times, but obviously many of these circles, they're all linked up with astrological signs, with different seasons, with eclipses and rising in equinoxes of the sun and the moon. So it's always connected with the stars. If you go into the armillary sphere, so I mean, Jay Widener got one of these himself. So this was an ancient device which has the world in the center, I suppose, like the old concept of Earth being at the center of the universe. But I think more importantly, it still relates to the cosmological signs, like the signs of the zodiac and the outer bits of the sphere with Earth in the middle, and it rotates round and it shows where the alignments are of the constellations and the different galaxies in relation to where we see it on Earth. So it's thank you. So the idea of alchemy is intrinsic to time. And Jay Ryden has also said, in terms of performing a physical alchemical operation of the material kind, as we commonly think of alchemy, or people commonly think of alchemy as the idea of transmitting a base material like lead into gold or something like that, a precious metal. And he was saying that the ancient alchemists knew that things like this armillary sphere they used to determine an auspicious time, like with doing astrological charts, auspicious time for certain important events. But even in terms of doing an experiment, it was important to do it at a certain time. And I suppose this would be in terms of where the energies were cosmically and how that would relate to what you were doing here on Earth with this particular experiment. So it's all about this connection of the material on Earth and the heavenly or cosmic in space, and it's all intrinsically linked. But the third concept of time and alchemy, as I'm going to go through today, which Jay Widener's book brilliantly does, it's quite mind-blowing really, about tracing how this concept of alchemy was passed through the centuries, millennia. It got passed through time, all these different civilizations, cultures, religions, but at many times it was suppressed, but it still retained influences, and then it was marginalized. But how this sort of linking of history and this thread of alchemy that runs all the way through it. So in that way too, it's an alchemy of time, of history, the time of the human race. Jay Vidner was talking in his book, saying he was seeing, if you go onto his reality check channel, which a lot of you will probably be aware of, he actually reads through the book. You can actually listen to him reading it out. But lots of other videos as well that I refer to. But he was saying that maybe he regrets the way that he set out the book. They sort of often authors get excited when they got like a big publishing deal with a big publishing house, and they try and sort of ram as much things in to try and take advantage of this publishing deal, really, to get this information out there, especially if if someone maybe is on the fringes, the more esoteric side of things. But I think he's right, and he's saying he doesn't regret really, because we used this opportunity to get all this information out there, because a lot of it has been hidden and it's not widely known, and it's important to get this into get it out there into the consciousness, really, because a lot of the point of the book is that these alchemical ideas were hidden and suppressed by people in power, and at certain times they've popped up and been awakened back into consciousness. And this Falconelli book, The Mystery of the Cathedrals, was in the early 20th century. It was a spark for this alchemical ideas to come back into the consciousness. Now, the Falconelli himself, not uncertainty as to whether he was an actual person or whether it was maybe a pseudonym, a name that was used, and there was like a group of people that had this esoteric knowledge. So it was all very mysterious, because it says on there that it was translated, or it was there was drawings by this Julien Champagne, and then it was an introduction by, I can't remember the name now, but someone else who sort of presents it like he Cancela, yeah. So there's different interpretations, because not many people really saw Falconelli, or they saw Champagne or this other guy, and it's not sure if these are one and the same people. So in keeping with the whole thing of alchemy, it's very mysterious, and a lot of the book, it's written in obscure language. It's sort of punning and coding, and language is very important. Falconelli talks about the language of the birds, which I quite like the idea of. But language is very important, but deeper, or not just the language of written words. What Falconelli is saying is that these ancient old architects that did these Gothic cathedrals of Notre Dame, within the architecture, within the designs on there, they were actually setting out these alchemical ideas. So it is described as being like a book in stone. And it was a way of encoding these things in secret, but at the same time on the walls of this famous cathedral in the center of one of the major cities of the world. But it was done, obviously, at a time, and it was supposed to be a Christian cathedral, but as we sort of go into it, throughout history, it becomes often they needed to sort of encode these ideas, and it got swept up with these major religions. and at certain times it was tolerated, or it sort of embedded itself and let itself be carried on with these major religions, but by sort of coding it in certain way where it doesn't get noticed or is allowed by the people in the churches. I think Jay Widener was saying on one of the videos that I watched, at the time that these were built, that the population of Paris was something like 40,000 people. It was, you know, very small by the comparison, obviously, the modern day city. Excuse me. And he was also saying that apparently there's sort of church records saying, well, we didn't finance the building of the cathedral, from the traditional Christian church. So he was saying, well, who did fund it? Who did get the money to get these amazing cathedrals up there? So anyway, to sort of keep moving on. So one of these connections, Liz was talking about the power of three. And I would say alchemy, from the little, what I'm gathering from these books, there's this triple nature to it, or three stages of it. There's the base material, and then there's the transmutation method, the transformation, and then the transmuted object, gold. But also it's threefold in terms of there's three different forms of alchemy. And as I say, what most people would think of as alchemy is the material transformation. So it is, as people think of, the ability to transform lead into gold, for instance. So lead, the base material, and it's transformed to this precious metal gold. But also there's a concept of a spiritual transformation. So it's, if you want to call it, like an alchemy of the soul. So it's something within the human. So where, I guess, the ordinary human is the base material, and it's a way of a spiritual transformation to achieve some sort of enlightenment. And then the third concept, which I say, this idea of alchemy in time, and this Wyden Bridges talk about with ultimately with this book, with this cross of Henday, we'll get to it later on. But the idea of a transformation of time, and possibly through a cataclysmic event, destroying the world as we know it and making a new reality. And this ties in, if you like, or it was influential and became connected in with these ideas that we have that have came through into Christianity and other religions, of the idea of there being an apocalypse, and then after that a transformation, and different beliefs, but something like a heaven on earth, or a transformation to a paradise, or a new spiritual world of light that comes through from often a dramatic cataclysmic event, but again a way of the base material being transformed into light. So it's material, spiritual, but also time. So within this list of history that I'm going to not do justice to, but start to just to list some of it through. But it was quite amazing as I was reading it, because I had a sort of list of things that I was going to maybe talk about as we go through our live streams, different subjects that I wanted to talk about. And, and the things like Gnosticism, the Knights Templars, even the Arthurian legends, King Arthur. And all of these things cropped up through this history, and they all have this link of alchemy and how that was passed through time. So these will still be subjects for future talks, because they're all massive subjects, so they're not gonna be covered tonight. But I thought it was incredible how there was this thread of alchemy through it. And also Mari, as we mentioned earlier, said about talking about Egypt, and that also is very much within this. In many ways, it's the start of things, or certainly how they go through listing it in this book. So we could go on to the next picture of. So that's Isis. So the earliest surviving alchemical texts are pre-Christian. I mean, the book, I haven't got all the way through the book, so as I say, there'll be further talks on it, and I know they're going to talking about Tibet and India, but in terms of the classical world, Egypt was where all this knowledge began. Or when I say began, it within the Egyptian culture, within their records, obviously Egypt was, the society there was thousands of years old, but these alchemical ideas, well, everything about Egypt, if you like, their science, their culture, it was the most developed and advanced science of the time in the world. But within their own beliefs, it was said that this information, they didn't learn it, well, they didn't gain this knowledge themselves, but it was received, it was given to them, and it was by this older race of people. And
we're going to talk about Long Skull again, aren't we?
Well, not specifically, but again, it all ties in. But I mean, they called it the first time, or Zep Epe, which sounds like one of those sort of tribute bands that Johnny Fettler would go and see. But there was a group in ancient Egypt known as the Heru Shemshu, probably didn't say that right, or the Company of Horus, and the followers of the widow's son, and they passed down a body of knowledge through the ages. Each pharaoh till Roman times was an initiate of the Company of Horus, and thus privy to this secret knowledge, which is the core of alchemy in its broadest sense. And it was based on an intimate understanding of astronomy, coding into many of Egypt's ancient monuments. These, such as the Sphinx and its temple, point to an even more ancient civilization from which Egyptians recover their knowledge. And Jay, and I know a lot of people would say that this ancient race or society was Atlantis. There's obviously other people, different names for it, and it ties in, of course, with Graham Hancock's recent series and all these studies where there was an ancient advanced civilization of humans sort of around the Ice Age and before that, 10,000 plus years ago. And then there was a big cataclysm which destroyed most of it, a few survivors, and they were people that went out to many of these different societies around the world, and they passed on the knowledge of things that led to civilizations like Egypt and the Mayans in South America and all these many places around the world where you get these ancient sites. And of course, looking forward to going to Göbekli Tepe and other sites around there in Turkey in May. And of course, sites like that are really just showing how human civilization was so much older than the traditional accepted view. But it's interesting that things like Atlantis and like alchemy, they've become shorthand. You know, there's something that's laughed at through time when you hear about it. Yeah, I know when I heard about it growing up, you know, they were myths, they were legends, and you know, alchemy was seen as one of these, I guess, and
pseudo kind of.
yeah, and like an example, oh, this is how silly people were in those days. They believed that you could, you know, magically transform lead into gold, and all these people tried to do it, and obviously they failed and they were idiots. You know, and again now, and obviously it's still got now with, you know, Graham Hancock's got loads of abuse and stuff like that, and it's like, oh, Atlantis is obviously just a myth. Can't believe people people want, you know, to be taken, you know, seriously when they're saying there was actually
they
a
had
culture
a big
called
cancel culture, which we're going through now.
Exactly. And I think I relate that, because as we go through all this history and we've got these ancient societies, and as I say, at different levels, where they suppress this, for want of a better word, magical knowledge, but it is science, you know.
Well, yeah, DJ's just said it was a precursor to modern chemistry.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, and so many of these things were lost in time, but certain aspects of it did get kept forward. But it's interesting that so the name Egypt that we have now is from Greek, and it was mansion of the spirit of Ptah. What Kapta? I've ruined that, haven't I? But originally the name of the city of Memphis, which was the first capital of Egypt. But the ancient Egyptians themselves, they called their country Kemet, Kemet, or in English spelling, which means black land, so named for the rich dark soil along the river where the first settlements began. And alchemy, I think, comes, well, according to Jay Vidner, from Alchem, Arabic.
Green tea's just put chem.
Yep, spot on, green tea, which is Arabic for the black, refers apparently to the darkness of the unconscious, which is the most primer of all materia. So, say, our alchemic method, transmitting stuff from base material, the dark material, and as you know, as I say, in purely material terms, talks about lead going into gold, but in terms of the consciousness, so you have this dark, the unconscious, and as I say, there's also this spiritual sense of alchemy in transmitting this darkness into light. Made me think, just throwing it out there in my, you know, I was thinking, you know, we talk modern astronomy, physics, etc., talk about dark matter, and about that makes up, you know, the majority of the universe. I don't know, it just made me think of that, and how all these modern physics ideas, you know, they, to me, they're I mean, you got to think stuff like in CERN, you know, unless you don't believe it, and obviously there's lots of dodgy things around CERN, but what they're trying to do, they're trying to transform at the very base of on a quantum level.
Well, that's what we were talking about last week a little bit, because I was trying to work out what the hell 0 point energy was. And it's the, Christ knows. You have to listen to last week's, but it reminds me of what you're talking about now.
Yeah, I mean, well, in CERN they've got this unidentified lying object, apparently, where something just
made out of nothing.
Yeah, from a vacuum.
It was something made out of a vacuum.
So there's this Egyptian origin of this concept, this in antiquity, this insight, and it's like a transmutation physics. But as I say, also there's this cosmic level to it, and it's talking about this transformation within the galactic core. And I want to look into it a bit more, because as I say, we talked about, just mentioned Göbekli Tepe, because I saw a talk by Andrew Collins, not live, but Megalithomania on the internet, and I think he was talking about symbols there, and again they've got serpent symbols there, and he was, I'm sure, talking about he thought it was referring to this center of the galaxy. And then within this J. Widener book, they're talking about going back to a lot of their like ancient Hebrew and their symbolic tree of life. And again, it was he's talking about these different axes within the galaxy. And again, talking about serpents in the sky, one of which being Draco, like the constellations and the galaxies. And so again, it's relating to the heavens, to space. And it's, I think what they're saying is that so much of it is looking at these cosmic cycles and the idea that things within the galactic core, things within the cosmos, I suppose, as with astrology, will relate to what happens on Earth. And it's talking about how these will affect the Earth and how they can induce potentially cataclysmic events. And of course, relates as Randall Carlson was talking with Jay Vidner, and obviously he's been on Graham Hancock's program as well.
And Joe Rogan now.
Oh yes, as well. Yeah,
He got bloody millions of viewers now. We used to watch him when he was like 3 viewers.
Yeah, we made him big, didn't we?
Yeah.
So what they're saying is that potentially as well, what these ancient sites that are referring to these cosmic goings on, it partially could be referring back to these previous ancient apocalypse that destroyed Atlantis, but also maybe warning us of future catastrophe, and maybe trying to point a way where there could be some transmutation to enable us to get through that and come out the other side as possibly transformed into light. Mind you, you said you didn't want to be.
I'm not really into it. If ascension means you're just a big ball of gas floating around up in the air, you can't have any nibbles.
Yeah,
I've got a whole video about this. I had a bit of an epiphany. I was sitting there thinking about, so the end game, what is it? We're going to be this bit of light or something. And I was like, well, where's the food? Rubbish.
Yeah. So anyway, not all alchemists had the same view as Liz. So so one of the earliest alchemical manuscripts is called Iris the Prophetess to her son Horus. So there's a representation of Isis there. So within this, what we want to call it, a myth, legend, Iris tells Horus after he returns from defeating this evil Seth that she's been studying magic, and she's got this information that's come to her from these angels because they fancied her apparently. So there's a bit of that going on in there. But again, I suppose you've got the concept of received wisdom from something otherworldly or from another dimension. So as part of this, Iris gives Horus a lecture on some familiar concepts, which you'll see as coming down through the centuries to our time and through different religions. But as you sow, so shall you reap. This is the whole of creation and the whole process of coming into being. And know that a man is only able to produce a man, and a lion, and a dog. And if something happens contrary to nature, then it is a miracle and cannot continue to exist, because nature enjoys nature, and only nature overcomes nature.
Natural law, all the way.
Well, yeah, they don't actually use the words in the book there, but yeah, 100% that screamed out at me from Liz's previous looking into that. And we know what the powers that shouldn't be at the moment, they're all about doing what's not natural I was just saying in the car, wasn't I? Probably as you're about to try and kill us.
Crush.
That's probably what led to it. But I was just thinking, there's so much like the sort of the wokies say about protecting the environment, but I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but they don't seem to use the word nature much. It's protecting the environment, but they're not actually don't actually use the word nature, because actually so much of what they're proposing on the widest sense is completely against nature. And whether it's transgenderism or just all the chemicals, everything is against transforming what's natural, including human nature and humanity, into something other. So as I say, Heru Shemshu, I can't say that properly, but pre-dynastic rulers of Egypt. So there's about 3,000 years of history there in Egypt. So there's these builder texts. Again, it's within stone. As I say, this ancient idea which went through different times and into these Gothic cathedrals, this idea of inscribing things in images in stone on temples, cathedrals, etc. So there's the Edfu temple in Egypt, which relates about these companions or initiates of Horus and the keepers of secrets of Zep-Tepe. And this Edfu was the last major building project of Egypt, 400 years after Solon heard the legend of Atlantis, and was this temple was purposefully decommissioned and filled in with sand in the 2nd century before Christ. So that's interesting. They sort of maybe tried to keep the secrets and filled it in. So this Heru Shemshu, as I say, was about 3,000 years of history, but then the Roman Empire came in, and following that, the Christian Church, but that's a little way off in a way. But although these other forces sort of took over, and this, what was a previously ruling around Egypt, faded away, but the spiritual fabric within these ideas, it came through in new emerging religions, like the earliest forms of Christianity, like Gnosticism, and it also came through later on into Islam. So Christianity was aided in its growth because it was it had similarities to the ISIS cult, which may well have been deliberate, but part of the ISIS myth came into Christian metaphor, and Jesus was put in the role of Horus and Mary the role of Isis. So sort of nuggets of this alchemical transformation, these concepts came through, and particularly among the Gnostics, and they insisted on direct mystical experience. And it made me think, just jumping way ahead, when they had the Protestant revolution, I suppose you could call it, in Christianity in Europe, centuries later than all this. But that was an idea of like going against the Roman Catholic idea of that's like a priesthood, initiates, that they're the only ones that have the information and they just preach to everyone else. Everyone else has to hear what they've got to say and follow their rules. Whereas the Protestantism from Luther was more that individual people should read the Bible themselves and get an individual understanding of the Christian message, if you like, or to although they maybe weren't so much mystical. But as I was talking again about in John D, the talk there around this Protestantism and this idea of getting a direct relationship yourself with some sort of spiritual connection. There was this more esoteric idea of a mystical experience, and Dee's only mentioned briefly, just in passing, in a footnote in this book so far. Anyway, like I've only got part of the way through it. But as I was saying then, these ideas, it was, as I'm going to mention in a minute, it became a sort of dark ages in Europe for a long time, when they even lost, or certainly was suppressed, you know, things like the ancient Greeks and all these ancient learning. It was really out of favor. So these was just starting to come back after centuries in this sort of Renaissance time. So Dee was one of these scholars who were like absorbing all these different texts from the ancient world that were just coming back. And it did make me think as well. Obviously, Dee was interested in alchemy. And I think I might have mentioned during my talk that he was interested, as one of many things in the science, that he was interested in optics. And he had this theory of light and everything being connected and had different properties of light, and they react with each other. And, you know, it struck me that, well, this is very much these alchemical ideas of things being transformed into light, and a spiritual connection of that. So the Gnostic Christians, very early form of Christianity, who are, I think, around Egypt, and they were a very powerful force until about the 4th century. And again, the Romans, and then obviously the Romans used to be against the Christians, but then was it Constantine, the first one? But suddenly, suppose he had a revelation and then adopted Christianity as being the religion of the Roman Empire. So then suddenly what was this for a long time, this sort of, certainly within Europe, this sort of splinter religion, then suddenly it was made the religion of the state and of the most powerful empire. And so you get this throughout the history. So you get people who are mystic, and people have all these insights, and in many cases they do have a genuine want to spread spirituality, love, all these positive things. But then these religions, many of them persecuted for a long time, but then sometimes powerful people with the wrong intentions take them up and say, oh yeah, we're going to have this religion as a banner, but they're just going to use it to try and give justification for people to do nasty things and go and conquer other places to spread the word. Or they're going to use this religion and codify it and say it's set of rules for administering a society and controlling it. But at the heart, I think, of all these religions, you've got this secret knowledge, this esoteric knowledge, but so often it's corrupted, crushed, and you know, the evil forces end up using it as something to justify violence. But before this Gnostic religion got crushed completely, it did reach southern France and to the west of England. So it did find influence that, you know, survived a long time afterwards. So there's sort of cycles within these history as it goes along. Coptic Christianity, it still now has a presence within Egypt. And
do you want that picture?
Oh yeah, we've got a picture.
Well, yeah, but it's not the right picture, is it?
We'll have the wrong picture.
We'll
get there. We'll get there. Yeah, leave that up. So yeah, I mean, I think there's been lots of in recent years, violence towards Coptic Christians within Egypt and other countries. Ironically, but as we know, they were created, CIA, etc. So it can't be a coincidence. But the acronym ISIS for this terrorist group, and well, they then became called Islamic State, and they're supposed to have done this bombing supposedly in Russia now, aren't they, or something? But anyway, there's been violence towards Coptic Christians, and then we know, obviously, not ISIS, but what's been going on in Gaza. You know, horrendous violence around this region, where, let's say, the origins, or certainly in the last few millennia, of this secret knowledge, this key to things, it's seemingly still this battleground where all these wars are going on, and it's been going on for centuries, and they're trying to, seems whether to find a particular key to something, or tap into certain legends, and I think, again, I mentioned in this D-Talk, and again, I think it's where things get corrupted, because you've got this idea of, like I say, an alchemy through time, and a way of transforming the material we have. And as I say, there's indications that this alchemy of time, that it might come through some cataclysmic event. And then this feeds into things like you've got the book of Revelations, which is taken up by the Christian church and other religions as well, where you've got this idea of a day of judgment, an apocalypse, and after that, those who are initiated or part of the religion, believers, they will have they will go to some sort of paradise, in paradisical realm, whether it's a paradise form on earth or to some kind of heaven. So again, this is very much this alchemical idea of coming from the base, transformed into light or the spiritual. But it seems to be, so many want to precipitate that apocalypse, and they're creating the war, destruction, to, whether some of them have some misguided idea that they're going to produce some nirvana thing at the end of it all. But whatever, it's, these people aren't God. They don't have any justification for doing what they're doing. But so as the ancient world broke up, there was Alexander the Great, and then, as I say, the Roman Empire. There was a splintering. A lot of these ideas, alchemical ideas, got suppressed, and they got broken up. So, as I say, for a lot of people, alchemy just now means, even if it's something to be laughed at, it just means this physical idea of changing metals from lead to gold, for instance. So, if you like, it went off to this idea of metallurgy or some protochemical chemistry ideas. But this idea of an internal transformation and some mystical transformation of the self, that got subsumed into some of these other religions. So in Judaism as well, this secret of time was intimately entwined within the work of creation, this ability to animate matter. Jewish mysticism kept this sort of esoteric ideas. So you come out, you've got the concept of the golem, where apparently Kabbalistic Jewish mystics were able to actually make a living creature from inanimate matter.
That's where they think she got the idea for Frankenstein from.
Right, yeah.
Because she actually went to the place where it was supposed to have happened.
Was it Prague?
Can't
I
remember.
think Prague
Never
and
sure.
Warsaw. There was
Mm.
people there claimed to be able to do it. So then Islam later, obviously, was a later religion in that region from Muhammad. But that then, as the way of all these religions, there's power structures, and that again split into the Shiite and Sunni. And that's they still conflict, now within themselves, within Islam, the same as there's different sects of Christianity that fight each other. So I think the Shiite they were following the descendants of Muhammad, and apparently this alchemical secrets of time were part again of a revelation to Muhammad. Again, the idea of received information, as he supposedly had it from an angel, although there's interesting ideas about what that could be, but
Don't say it.
Don't say it.
Don't
No,
want a bloody fatwa
no,
on
we
our
don't want
head.
no bloody fatwa here.
No fatwa. We've got enough fatwas over here.
But apparently this idea, this sort of more esoteric ideas, came from or followed the descendants of Muhammad, rather than, as I say, you've got these other forces that then went off and took Islam and
Islam?
Lislam. That's a new religion. I'm starting it now.
Not taking me.
Lislam.
I want presents.
So within Islam, again, with a lot of the religions, you have so much which is all about this, power structures and enforcement, and but then you do have these mystical schools within it, and within Islam it was the Sufis. So they were ones within Islam who took up these esoteric ideas. And again, as the very little I understand is that Sufism, again, a bit like sort of Zen Buddhists, it's this idea of a direct personal appreciation of the spiritual, getting entertainment. And again, Sufism, we've got a book somewhere, haven't we?
Yeah.
And again, it's like sort of little parables, not quite the sort of haikus of Zen, but that sort of thing where it's a little short stories, parables, which are supposed to just get this moment of insight and trigger it. So again, it's the idea of someone personally getting a connection with the spiritual and some sort of transformative process within the self. But a lot of, there was certainly huge amounts, sadly, with all these religious forces that got taken up by these rulers who adopted Islam, and then they used it to sort of unify forces to then go off and conquer all these other states. And the Islamic empire became, rivaled the Romans. They conquered so much of North Africa, and of course they went the other way into India. And they in terms of Europe, they conquered Spain and held Spain for many years. So I'm not going to say them conquering these countries was a good thing, and obviously there was lots of death and destruction that happened along that. But apparently there was a lot of interest within these Islamic states, and even many of the rulers. They were interested in learning, and places that they took over,
Everybody learned.
yeah. Some of them got killed first, but then they learned. But they translated a lot of the ancient texts from other countries, other civilizations. They translated them into Arabic, and as I say, Europe had basically this sort of dark ages where nobody
learned.
No, basically no. And a lot of where they came out of the Dark Ages was because there started to be this, there started to be dialogue, if you like, between the Islamic people in Spain and people in other parts of Europe, and there was a transmitting of this ancient knowledge, which a lot of it had been forgotten or certainly not looked into for many years, these other parts of Europe, and it started to filter through. And as I say, into these time they were learning a lot of these things which had been lost. But as Jay Widener says, Islam gets a bad press, and it was actually responsible for keeping many of these esoteric traditions and learning and knowledge, and enabling it to sort of live on and get passed on to places where it had been forgotten about or was never even known. So Spain became a transmission point between Islam and Christianity. So then, around the time of the first millennium, so about 1,000 years after Christ's death, there was, inspired a little bit by the fact of this sort of millenarial idea, and like stuff in our time when it's sort of coming up to year 2000, a lot of people were thinking, oh, the world's going to end or things are going to change. So there was certain a sort of some developments of thought around that time, and around this time as well, the Turks conquered Palestine, the Holy Land. So there had started to be some like pilgrimages from the West, from Europe, to Jerusalem, and the Egyptian Fatimids, who were rulers there, were sympathetic to these Christian pilgrims, but these new Turkish rulers weren't. Now, this sort of time led on to what became as the Crusades, and obviously a lot of them were, again, destructive, and a lot of terrible slaughter happened. But apparently, like, the very first crusade was something completely different, and there was Pope Sylvester the Second, who was quite a learned pope around this time, and so there had been sort of there was I think some dialogue with these Egyptian Fatimids, and there was some sharing of knowledge. And what sort of got known as the First Crusades were actually that this Pope sent people, basically scholars, I think, to Jerusalem, and they were allowed, apparently, I think they never came back, but I think there was some talk whether they converted to Islam, but they didn't necessarily do that, but they did have access to a lot of this ancient knowledge. And I think, it's described that it was more of an idea of shared learning, and it wasn't a thing of conquest and fighting. And around that time, there was formed this, I think, I can't remember the full name, but Order of Zion. It was this temple on Mount Zion in Jerusalem, and they were apparently given these first crusaders, or these scholars that had come across. And in Jay Widener's book, they were talking about how this order of Mount Zion became what became the Knights of the Temple, the Knights Templars. But in later years, with the other crusades, it became a military thing. And I know from other reading, there was obviously all this vast wealth that they accrued, these Knights Templars, and they became this far-reaching, incredibly powerful body. But again, to begin at the heart of, or the origins of their order, if you like, was something about learning, and it was esoteric knowledge, and it wasn't something about conquest. But again, you know, later popes, later rulers weren't so enlightened, and they used, or they just basically wanted to steal the knowledge for themselves. So that's when you get all the terrible things from the Crusades, where again, you know, lots of slaughter and fighting to supposedly try and win back the Holy Land for Christianity. But perhaps at the heart of it, or at least a large part of it, what he was trying to do was to try and get secret knowledge or artifacts. I mean, there's some claims that these Knights Templars got the Ark of the Covenant or something like that. Jay Widener was thinking not, but saying possibly what they got. I am fascinated, but want to read some more. But there's this black stone, which is possibly from like a meteorite, which is this sacred stone, which is also, I think, which is in the cube that they have in Mecca. And there was some speculation that the bits of it have been chipped away, and that they maybe had some part of that. And you come again to this idea of the alchemical idea and having a base matter, and it being, and then some transformation from that to light. I think suggestions that this sacred stone, things like the Philosopher's Stone, has come into legend right up to Harry Potter, and that they maybe had access to something like that. And through this knowledge, at least, even if it wasn't something physical that they had, they got this power, the Knights Templar. They had the sorry, we'll go back to this minute, but you got that sphere, armory sphere. So apparently there were legends about the Knights Templar, and they worshipped, or they got information from this head that gave them some secret knowledge. What Jay Widener and Vincent Bridges were saying is, and they were doing lots of sort of breakdowns of languages to show this, and they were thinking it might have actually been something like this armory sphere, where it's this head might actually just refer to this place of truth, this space, and you get again this idea of a cube of space. And I think something which again I need to look into more, and when you get this the black cube, which is, you know, worshipped within Islam in the Mecca, and you got this black cube. So I'm probably going to offend lots of religions now, but, you know, to me, again, this makes me think of this idea of some sort of dark matter from which things are a basis of all existence, and then an idea of out of this void can be some sort of spiritual transformation. I've probably completely misrepresented lots of religious ideas there, but so if we go back to that Coptic cross, I'm sorry, it was up there for ages and I wasn't talking about it, but
it's not the best picture we could find.
No, but there's lots of different versions of it. But this what's known as the Ankh cross, and probably other people in the chat might know much more about it, but again, you get this symbolism, and the fact it's got, well, in a lot of later crosses, it had like a rose, where you've got the stars there.
Show it in the picture, because we couldn't find the picture, couldn't we?
Excuse me. Well, that's...
Don't worry. That's not the thing, but carry on.
Symbols actually, but this concept of a rose, so then you got the Rosicrucians, so that's why again it filters centuries later into this. So I think again you got a symbolism there of a flowering within, maybe a flowering from the void.
Where's that one that we were looking for? The stone one. Backwards or forwards?
Yeah, that direction.
Oh, I'll find it. Carry on.
Yeah. Here we go. That's it.
No, it's not, sir.
Oh, it's there. There it is. And I was thinking as well, I mean, this is probably already been noticed, but it made me think of the Celtic crosses that you see around. Is it mainly in Ireland and this country as well, the Celtic cross? But I guess a flowering from, the idea of because the cross as well, I think, can connect up again, like I talk about these ideas of these cosmic axes of the different galaxies, and it all relates with these symbolism. Like I say, it's something that I'll need to talk about in another time, but again, it's an idea of how
it's just made it 50 times worse.
the symbols get symbols, obviously through the ages, they were in artwork and stone engravings, and so the idea, or what Falconelli's book brought back to the fore, was this concept that these Gothic cathedrals in France were also stone books that were representing these symbols of alchemy, and they were doing it centuries later. Now I mean, I must admit, I didn't realize at all, again very ignorant, but France, in the region of Provence, around there's legends there. I mean, we got legends here of that Joseph of Arimathea came to England, and Glastonbury, and the legends around there.
I have got a bit of the holy thorn that Linda gave me.
Oh yeah, maybe she's not allowed to say that.
Yes, we are.
Oh, right.
Linda, it's up here. It's tied up here, so I can't show you.
But yeah,
that present you gave
amazing
me.
Yeah. So what was I saying?
Joseph of Arimathea.
Oh yeah. So, but in France, in the south of France, in Provence, there's a legend, and there have been relics found and bones, that sort of thing. But the legend, if you want to call it that, is that after Jesus was crucified, members of his family, including the two Marys, Virgin Mary, his mother, and Mary Magdalene, and others, came across by boat and landed. I forget the name of the town. Someone probably know it in the chat. It's in my book, but I won't flick through to try and find it right now. But and they landed there, and there's still celebrations now. Have you got could you look up something for the Black Madonnas?
Oh yeah.
There's a gypsy Madonna in one of the places. I've got it. But I'm that's another place on my list now that I want to go and see.
Bloody hell! I'm never
There's a
gonna see
lot.
this
There's a
front.
lot in me list. There's a lot of me lists.
Which pictures you want? Just this one.
Yeah, that would be a nice one to start with. But so fascinating around this region. Like I say, sorry, I won't flick through it. I haven't got it to hand. I do apologise for my.
Well, I can look it up here. What is it you're looking for?
Provence, where Mary came by boat.
Fuck's sake!
All right.
Magdalene.
Yeah, she was there. She was there. Saint. Oh, they got some beautiful ones because they're big. They're gypsy.
Which one?
Well, yeah. Well, the procession's quite nice, isn't it? They have processions each year. I think there's a one with the gypsies. There might be that one, and they have like so the Black Madonnas supposed to be representing the Marys, and they're taken down to the sea. Yeah, so it's a really ancient traditions, as I say, going back to when supposedly the Jesus' own family came to Provence in the south of France. So stemming from that, over coming centuries, there was these sort of strange sects of Christianity that were outside of the established Roman Catholic Church and the big state scary church, and one of those that came out in that, maybe not that direct place, but in that sort of area, was the Cathars, which a lot of people will be aware of. But so the Cathars seem to have a fascinating belief system. Again, it's Christian, but they believed in reincarnation, and I think you've
wow, what is that?
There's no one.
That's the statue of the Black Madonna.
Right. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they're incredible. So, and there's been a lot of reference as well. I think that these Black Madonnas also hark back to ISIS again. So it's harkening back to these origins of alchemy and back to the ancient Egypt symbols. But yeah, the Cathars, they they had lots of things which were frowned upon by the traditional Christian church. So they believed in reincarnation. Apparently women were very prominent in the society, and could be like sort of religious leaders, if you like, or like priests. But I think they, again, one of their things was not a priesthood so much as, again, it was about this people having a personal experience, a mystical experience. They made me think, again, previous to William Blake, because they were also very much, they were against marriage, and it was about love, but it was about this sort of sexual energy. It wasn't the traditional idea of marriage. So that made me think of what we were talking about with William Blake's beliefs, and they seemed like a fascinating belief system, culture. And again, it sort of maybe partly came up, as I say, these early Coptic, Gnostic, Christian ideas, very early, way before it became Roman Catholicism and things got ingrained and part of a state for empire. So really broke off, and again, these sort of with esoteric ideas, which you could say were kept within these little offshoots, and which were suppressed in the wider state form of the religion. But as many people know, the Cathars were there was a terrible massacre for some reason. Some particular pope or emperor decided that they didn't they were too abhorrent, too contrary to the ideas, but also perhaps again there was this idea that they had this secret knowledge which needed to be stamped out or stolen, but the Cathars were basically wiped out, and hundreds of thousands of them were killed, slaughtered. So they were it was really tragic, and like they were saying, it was like a crusade, but it was against other Christians. It wasn't even that they could say, oh, we're doing it against the infidels or the pagans, or it was actually against people that were devout Christians, but just not the right kind of Christianity. So, but as I say, this was France. So again, this is where you could say where these esoteric ancient ideas, where they came through France. And then it was interesting. So as I say, things like the Cathars were suppressed. But they were saying it was interesting, like the idea of the troubadour came up around this region, and these sort of singing, the sort of, I suppose, like the wandering minstrel idea, and singing songs about courtly love.
Courtney Love?
No, not courtney love. No, Christ. Can you imagine it? Probably about the most opposite thing to courtney love, but yeah, courtly love, which okay, I may just say, oh, someone's just singing a romantic song, which I suppose comes through now into our day. Well, maybe not our day because they're destroying it, but even pop songs,
Courtney Love.
Yeah. But with these troubadours came into these tales which came up around the Grail legends, which were around, weirdly enough, although obviously it relates, it's tied in with the legends of King Arthur, but it's it started around this area of France, and this was after, say, the Cathars were repressed, and of course the Templars as well, from going from being really powerful, again these power shifts, and then again a emperor whatever decided that they were, maybe just because decided they were too powerful, I don't know, but they were I say wiped out. Basically the leaders were burned at the stake, but apparently many of the others are able to sort of go into other orders and things like that. And as we know, for another talk, perhaps the Templars ended up going into and coming into other secret societies that have gone into our day now. But what they were saying in the book is that perhaps, again, this esoteric knowledge that was being suppressed in other forms, maybe it was then woven into these legends of the Holy Grail, which was again this idea of some material that was transformative, and people having the Holy Grail, you would have get this sort of spiritual enlightenment or power, glory. It was you were intimately connected with God, and I was quite not expecting that the Holy Grail legends relate to alchemy again through this pathway through history. It's quite interesting. Again, in the book they talk about it's like a meme, I suppose. The original word of meme, so now we just deal with internet memes of like jokey pictures and stuff, but this idea of a meme like concept or an idea, like that can pass through time, like a seed. So with this seed of this alchemical ideas, it can go through time and people can get little bits of it, but not connect to the inner seed and get a transmission which gives them some sort of revelation.
If you actually think of a seed, you plant a seed
Mhm.
there,
Mhm.
and a seed can go through the ground.
Mhm.
But if you think of a mycelium,
Oh yeah,
it can pop up 100 miles over there. The mushroom.
we've seen a lot more of mushroom. There's so much stuff, mushrooms,
it's
and
really in the zeitgeist.
yeah. So maybe that's
so
a
the
good
time
yeah.
is it traveling through in the dark
Yeah.
under the ground in the soil.
Yeah.
And then eventually it will pop up.
Yep. I love that.
I love it.
And maybe that is part of why it's in the zeitgeist.
I expect I've got the knowledge.
Yeah, yeah.
I've got my own bloody knowledge.
And this mycelium is, well, it's a connecting.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Anyway, let's not get me started on that.
That's a whole other. But yeah, that's a very good analogy. So again, it's way, whether it's through symbols like that Coptic cross, the Ankh symbol, through the carvings in the Gothic cathedrals, or through songs and ballads
you've got me thinking.
in the Grail legends.
You set me off.
It's a way of anything you want to share now?
No.
So it's a way of passing these things on, these ideas, these memes, if you like. So but it's still, I suppose, to get a full understanding, you maybe need to be part of the mystery schools or these secret societies, maybe, that actually have the real inner knowledge, but it's still being kept alive. And so I mentioned about in John Dee's time, or no, well, just after him, and there was speculation, Louvre, the writing that book that I took a lot of the Dee talk from, that when he was traveling around Europe and he was meeting various people and sharing ideas with them, that out of that, not just through Dee, but giving a lot of credit to Dee, that things like the Rosicrucians came up soon after, and that they were getting this esoteric knowledge, and then they were wanting to take on this knowledge and bring it into science and try and spread this increase of knowledge. Now, I mean, a lot of time when we mention Rosicrucians now, and again, like the Freemasons were another one of these societies, of course, and a lot of time we mention them now as being the bad guys, and I still think they probably can be a lot. I mean, the thing is, we're talking about stuff that happened centuries ago, and I think maybe it's like with Christianity, Judaism, Islam. Like I say, that there's kernels of truth,
the Masons
beauty.
Start off bad.
Yeah, exactly. So they were preserving the knowledge.
Yeah.
But
then they got a little bit big-headed with it and wanted to keep it to themselves.
Yeah. And then maybe it is, like people say, the Scottish Rite, particularly, that are
the Scottish wrong,
that are inflicting a lot of what's happening now. So yeah, I think a lot of these societies maybe were formed with strong intentions, right intentions, but then, like all of these things, whether it's an Islamic ruler saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to take this religion and go and conquer North Africa," but still you've got the Sufis, and you've got all these Islamic scholars digging down into this ancient knowledge and then bring it into like modern science and mathematics. So and maybe again that's what's happening. That's what happened in recent times with these secret societies. And like I say, and when it taps into this idea of some sort of apocalypse, when going through that to get to some enlightened age, maybe some mad people are thinking that they have the right to bring these things into existence themselves in some misguided way. But yeah, so you've got symbolic art, architecture, but also language. I talked about the Grail legends and songs and how that transmitted an idea through these myths and legends. And this is a quote, I think, yeah, this is a quote actually from the Falconelli book. Language as an instrument of the spirit lives by itself, although it is only a reflection of the universal idea. We don't invent anything, we don't create anything. All is in everything. Our microcosm is only a tiny, animated, thinking, more or less imperfect particle of the macrocosm. What we believe we can find by the mere effort of our intelligence already exists somewhere. It is faith that makes us feel what is. It is revelation that gives us the absolute proof. How many wonders, how many unsuspected things would we not discover if we knew how to dissect words, break their bark and free the spirit, the divine light they contain, escape the tyranny of the letter. And apparently when this Falconelli book came out, I think it came out in something like 27. And then there was a second edition, which then had this extra bit about the Temple of Henday, which I mentioned in a moment. But
do you want me to get the cross out or the temple?
Well, why not? Yeah.
Which one? Cross of Henday.
Yeah. We'll get there in a sec.
Are you sure?
Oh, I'm not sure.
We've got loads to do.
Have we? What else we got?
We've got all your business down here to do, haven't we?
Oh, we've got all your business. Yeah, that's going to be the Cross of Henday. Yeah. But Jay was writing that the Falconelli book, although it wasn't like a bestseller as such, but it was influential, and a lot of, well, I'm sure in the esoteric world, but also in things like the surrealists, he thinks were influenced by it, and they talked about alchemy and this idea of where we talked there, Falconelli, about breaking the bark of language, of words, and freeing something out from inside it. Again, that's this sort of alchemical idea, and that influenced surrealism and other writing and art in that time. Obviously, this was this book, Falconelli, it came out in France, in Paris, where it was quite a center of sort of thinking at the time. And again, I would say I would think, stuff I've written about, which I'll maybe talk about another time, when I wrote about language and this idea that silence is this background, if you like, it's the blank sheet of paper or the blank screen which writing is over. So if you like, silence is the base, and language is maybe what transmits that. So again, there can be an alchemy in words, in symbols, to create something else. So I think we've got the pictures up, so I might.
Do you want me to get the pictures, the ones we did earlier?
Yeah. So unfortunately, I haven't, in my Falconelli book, it obviously isn't the sort of the reissue version, so it hasn't got this chapter on Henday, but they go into a lot on the J. Widener. So, but as I say, it's on his. Got these images from his website when he was talking with Randall Carlson. So, I'm getting there. Yeah. So it's only a small place and it's very nondescript. Not many people pay much attention to it, but there's this stone cross in this town Hendaye, and it's close to it's in France, but close to the border of Spain. So again, this idea, as I say, when there was Spain was under Islamic rule, and there was this interrelationship between the religions and cultures. And I think Jay Widener was saying is if you sort of went down from Europe to go into Spain, you would come through Hendaye. So it had that sort of place in physical location. But yeah, a bit unremarkable. But apparently there was this like added chapter this that came out in the 50s, and as I say, the Falconelli, not even sure he exists, but suddenly this other chapter came out saying how important this cross was. So this is a drawing. So this is Randall Carlson, and I think did this with Jay Widener. So we got the four symbols there, where you've got like a star.
Tell me when you want to move on.
Yeah. Okay.
To the next picture.
Yep. Yeah. I'm just getting me a bit. So apologies, everybody.
You don't have to apologize.
So Randall Carlson was likening these four pictures to tarot cards. So
we don't want judgment first.
No, I think
Bear with. What is it? Which one do you want first?
That
Star.
one. That one. Yeah. So they were saying there that you've got the idea of the sort of the underground waters, subterranean water, which is sort of this they talk about this underground stream of these ideas and how they've gone through time. Made me think instantly when we talked about that. Andy Thomas talked about the crop circles, and they're predominantly over aquifers like they got around here, where it's all this large deposits of water underground. But again, it's got the connection of this the water and the land here. I think it looks like a pyramid right in the background there. But obviously you've got the celestial bodies there in the background. If we go on to the next one.
What is the next one?
Yeah, so the one with the dogs, I think. Yeah. So they were saying there about, well, you've got again the sun, and we were talking about seeds, and it's like you've got all these seeds around the sun.
But it's actually the language, isn't it? It's the word, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah. And then he's talking about the fish or whatever coming out of the sea. So that was about the origins of life
and how they're being tamed. So you've got the wild wolf and the tame dog.
Mm-hmm. So it's sort of these origins of civilization. I think I'm sorry because I'm not very prepared on that, so I probably won't go through all of the description of all because I haven't got it.
No, it's just interesting to see. Obviously, there's the sun, the star, the moon,
and the world.
And he talks about that egg shape of the world, doesn't he?
Yeah. And I think around that oval where you've got different representation of different signs of the zodiac. So the basic concept that Falconelli was saying with this, so these are those images around the base of the pillar. So what
and the 4 ages, Those
Yeah.
A's were the 4 ages,
Yeah.
weren't they?
So basically, what I think the ultimate is of this, again, this idea of the alchemy of time, and that this cross is predicting about the next cataclysm, a repeat of maybe the cataclysm that wiped out Atlantis. So it's a connection with this idea of the alchemy of time and a possible revelation or transformation of our Earth. But I think I'm going to need to talk about it when I've done a bit more reading, a bit more learning. But it's interesting how in yet another symbology, it's similar to the tarot cards. So, but yeah, I think I might have to read on, people, and go back to this and do it more justice, because
That's the tarot cards. Like.
yeah. So what we've got there, because you've got where we've got this idea of these axes. So I say it relates to the galaxies, the stars. So as obviously, like with astrology, it's showing where the alignments are with the stars. So it's like a calendar, and it's like so many of the ancient stone sites. It's talking about the place where we are in relation to the heavens at different times, and it's it just really, so it got
it's like a clock of it's like an Armageddon clock, isn't it?
Yeah,
in a way.
Yeah,
That's kind of what they're coming to the conclusion. It does foretell, apparently, Armageddon. Some people say it was, no, I don't know the date.
Yeah. So I might have to sort of draw to a close my ramblings, because I'm obviously starting to talk about things that I don't know anything about. Because I apologise, people, but I haven't fully read on. But I mean, I think
Mark, to be fair, you've got a full-time job and you've just delivered a 2-hour lecture. I'm sorry, but don't beat yourself up.
No.
You've done amazing.
No, I won't. I mean, the thing is, I could never have got there in one evening anyway, and it's stuff that needs
well, you said
more.
You were going to do part 2, didn't you?
Oh, there will be at least a part 2. I mean, like I say, I mean, certain things I was planning to do as separate talks, things like the Gnostic, the Knight Templars.
It's a massive subject
to
learn in one fucking week.
King Arthur, and all of these things will be done, because we don't. If we exhausted all the subjects in our first few sessions, then there'd be nothing more to talk about, would there? But it does fascinate me, and it obviously, again, like I say, it connects in with things that Graham Hancock's been talking about. As I say, I mean, but explain it better than me. If you go on Jay Wider's Reality Check, and then there's the Cyclic Cross of Henday, Alchemy and the End of Time. There's a part 1 and part 2 where he's discussing it with Randall Carlson, who was also with Graham Hancock. So these ideas are coming out more and more. I mean, I remember like thinking, oh, why has Netflix got this the Graham Hancock? It seems like that's an interesting thing, and but with Netflix, you always think there's a an ulterior motive sort of thing. But then I was thinking, so much Netflix stuff, when we used to look at it, there, especially the programs they made themselves, like the science fiction, whatever, it was all stuff about dystopia, AI, robots, witchcraft. So the ideas of there being an apocalypse, a cataclysm, was tying in with seems what the agenda of stuff that they were putting out there. so there seems to be, I wouldn't say a trend for more of this stuff coming out there, but maybe there's more.
It's in the zeitgeist. It's
It's
in
in the
it's in the
zeitgeist.
twinkly skywater.
It's in the twinkly skywater.
And
Yeah.
they know it's coming out, so they've got to get a hold of it themselves. They've got to, you know.
Yeah, but I was thinking, I mean, when we talk about, when I'm saying about the, different times, esoteric knowledge has to go underground, and you got these secret societies, little sects of things that take on the knowledge, and that's almost becoming people like us now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Linda was sort of saying that in the chat. She was
Yeah.
saying we've got to learn from the tribe. I mean, we're the tribe.
Yeah,
We're a tribe.
Yeah.
We are
And
learning from each other.
and so yeah, it's a way of passing this knowledge on. And I mean, that's what Jay Widener was saying. Like I say, when they got the publishing deal to put the book out, and he was like, oh, wanted to get everything out there. But now he's obviously putting out through his films and his channel. But I mean, yeah, it's a brilliant book. I mean, I'm only like halfway through it, and so I will definitely be reading on and presenting more later on about it. But
Well done, babe.
But I think it's good to get a sense really of the history of it. Thousands of years, but how these ideas have, like these memes, underground mycelium.
Exactly.
And
it's all starting to sprout.
Yeah.
It's all been. Oh my God, we're onto something here.
Mm-hmm.
It is. The knowledge has been underground, and it's just been spreading quietly.
Mm-hmm.
And now it is starting to sprout, and idiots like us can see it. Idiots like me. The truth will out.
Yeah, but
have a little look through some of the comments, babe. I'll get it up here.
Oh,
so
yeah,
you can see. Right, I'm going to doobie-doo. Doobie-doo. And then I'll scroll up a few.
DJ, you've been arrested. That's disgraceful.
Right, I'm going to scroll up a bit. I'm not going to go all the way to. Oh no, I just seen a potato, so we've gone up too far.
The potato.
Right,
the potato and alchemy.
Can you see that for me?
Yeah. Time is alchemy in action. I love it. Yeah. People with memories of living antis. Yeah.
That's just like going.
Yeah. So sorry. Yeah.
Talking properly is.
People awaken.
Struggling.
Yeah. Thanks, Linda. The time is alchemy in action. Alchemy is a precursor to modern chemistry. DJ, quite right. Yeah. So an awakens. People have memories of living.
Talk it properly.
People have memories of living in Atlantis. Egypt was much different back then, when it was still the supercontinent Pangaea. Yeah. Abdul. Oh, it's popped up.
Oh, it does that. It jumps up and down.
Yeah. Mari, Abdul Hakim Awam was a keeper of traditional Egyptian knowledge. Thank you, Mari. Yeah, I Green Tea Book. I couldn't get all of the names and stuff in my little brain, and sometimes if you're flicking through too many things. But yeah, thank you. I want to see YouTube is so yeah. There's definitely a lot more that I need to. I mean, it's just like a fascinating jump off point, really. The base material darkness reminds me of Nietzsche. That's very interesting. I think he's someone that I'd like to delve into for another talk as well.
Sorry.
It's all right. Could you move up a little bit?
It's difficult because it.
Yeah, no. So DJ, the abyss changing you, opposed to you transcending the abyss. Well, yeah. So yeah, I think it's I've got this book by which I haven't read for a long time, but a Buddhist philosopher, Nishitani. But he was someone that studied with people like Heidegger and Sartre, those his existentialist, and they'll talk about nothingness. But he was saying, for they make this thing that there's nothing, that there is no God, maybe, or there isn't some deeper meaning to the material world. So then you've got so then it just becomes nothingness does become an abyss, because there's just nothing. It's just emptiness. So, and that you get this what we've got a lot of people in modern society, where there's just a lack of meaning. The people just feel this emptiness, and it leads to just a hollowing out. But he was saying, he coming from
You've been staring into the darkness too long.
Yeah, so he becoming
We're
from more
forced, they literally grab our head and force it into the darkness.
Yeah. Well, that's so much is coming into the culture now. But what he was saying, for more of a Buddhist Eastern, so this concept of nothingness, that it's the ground of all there is. Everything comes out of this nothingness, and it's what the material matter.
If it's true what they say about CERN, and that unidentified lying object popped out of nowhere, out of a vacuum, how can they then turn around and say the things that we're talking about is impossible, when they're, in one hand, they're saying we've literally just discovered this, but what you're talking about is nonsense?
Yeah, well, then, and we know, I mean, one of the things actually that turned me on to the stuff that we're interested in, although I always had an interest in the spiritual or esoteric, just from way back. So, but in terms of a sort of the world is not what we seem, sort of thing, when they showed me the opening ceremony to CERN. And that blew my mind, because I never even knew that there was an opening ceremony to CERN. And if someone had told me there was one, I would have assumed it was men in white coats talking to a lot of people in suits, and that was it, over some canapes.
Oh no, Mark, no, it was a goat man raping somebody, coming out with an Antichrist child.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, that's how you'd open a big laboratory.
Yeah, like this giant thing that's supposed to be the pinnacle of human science and technology.
Unfucking
And
believable.
it was basically looked like something out of the Wicker Man, coming out of this tunnel, and then. But most shocking of all was this horned goat creature, supposed to be some mountain goat in Switzerland,
raping somebody,
but literally
giving birth to an Antichrist.
Literally show on stage.
You think that's the most shocking bit, but you don't realise. They had these fucking idiots climbing up and then falling off. That was actually the people that died making the tunnel.
So
anyway, sacrifice.
So yeah, I mean.
But what do they say? If you stare into the darkness long enough, the darkness starts staring back at you. Yeah. I think that's what's happened. Yeah. And when we say about staring into the darkness, we are, you imagine your eyes staring into the darkness, and then you say the darkness staring back at you in your eyes. Are eyes portals? What do they say? The eyes are the portals to the soul. So if you're staring at darkness and darkness is staring back at you into your eyes, no wonder we're all gin-infested fucking nutters. I'm just saying.
Yeah. But yeah, to me, I think, this different concept of this a void or nothingness is like, but that is where the spiritual comes from. So, to transform it around, and people say often you need to go down to the low point, but then you can be transformed, but
sometimes you can stay there.
Yeah, but I mean, it's all about not being trapped. So, and I think a lot of these concepts, maybe like this alchemical idea is about that, if you like. It's transforming.
Well, when they say do your shadow work, that's supposed to be the transformation, and that's supposed to be the lead into gold, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Doing your shadow work,
100%. Yeah.
But when they talk about doing your shadow work, they just want the shadow.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't want the gold. They just want you to get into the shadow and stay there.
Because, like you say, they want people to be trapped in the abyss, and they don't want people to get out of it. They want people
because
like
they're fucking trapped in there. That's why.
they want people. What was that analogy you give your clients about the bucket of crabs? Yeah.
So I work with people with substance misuse issues, and some, you know, when they're doing really well, they're potentially surrounded by people that just want to pull them back. And we always say, have you ever been to the seaside, Weymouth round here? And you've got these kids on the edge of the pier doing crabbing. They throw their little thing over and they get the crabs, put them in the bucket. Sometimes a little crab will try and get out, and the other little crab's at the bottom, grab him by his little legs and pull him back in. That's exactly what's going on here. They can't get out the bucket, so they want they want us down there with them, in my humble opinion. It's not very humble.
But yeah, I'm going to have to read through this. We've got lots of intelligent people in the chat with lots of ideas
good.
and
fucking good. That's good.
And links and stuff. So DJ's Bouval's The Orion Mystery. Is that around the? Because I think did Hancock talk about that as well at one point with the pyramids like a Giza, and there was they're showing the point.
To?
Well, DJ's in the chat, but well, in general, anyway. But
going off on a little tangent again.
There's like Orion. They're supposed to be showing the arrangements of Orion, and was that with Hancock? One of his, I don't know if he's changed his mind on that, but that was one of these things where he was saying the alignment. It had to be centuries earlier than when people said the pyramids were there, and so that's where I think quite an early thing that he said this is why he thinks it was built far earlier than the time that archaeology accepted it as being. So
can we just scroll down?
Yeah, why not? Oh Christ,
that was loud.
Robert Temple, don't know, but it's all interesting. Camille Puglia, mispronounced that. Thank you, Mari. That name rings a bell, but about Isis and Mary. Yeah, I think might need to go through these in.
You're too clever. You're just going to take up all bloody night.
I'm not clever.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to these people.
Oh, yeah, these people are very clever. Yeah,
it might help if you.
Blimey, Yeah, I mean the secrets. Linda was saying anyone with an ounce of decency should share knowledge. I mean that is the trouble, I suppose. That it's. I mean, I can understand obviously a lot of these secret societies, and a lot of it is when they were being persecuted, and it was they had to keep the knowledge secret, either because it would, if they made it known, they'd be wiped out, or the ideas would be wiped out, or the wrong people would have the ideas, the people that just wanted to use it for destruction. But
I'm jumping. I'm jumping.
Yeah, can't follow it. But thanks for your thanks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, think again. I mean, the Raiders of the Lost Ark films, all those films. I mean, it's just as little, not, but again, that ties in. Obviously, it's around the Nazis and how they were trying to get hold of the Ark of the Covenant, and they had all these esoteric, or they were, like I mentioned again, with the spy talk, and they were certainly trying to pick up all these bits of esoteric knowledge from the Holy Land and around there, and all sorts of places. Obviously, they sent someone to Tibet, and so they were trying to get these secrets as well, the same as the Crusaders were, the Knights Templar. So,
what about the Iraq bloody museum?
Yeah, that again goes back to what we were talking about the other day. Yeah, when they raided that and got all these secret bits of technology,
Baghdad battery still missing.
Yeah, so it's such a going on centuries, and it's still right up to date now. It's sadly that theme, isn't it? It's the psychos in power that are fucking up life for everyone else. but there's always small bands of people.
Like Linda said, the tribe, and that's us.
Yes.
We don't get it. You know, we just sit here and we just do a little bit of reading after work, and then we cobble together this. But to be fair, if we can cobble together this in a week, this kind of, I think there's hope for us. But I don't think many people these days can be asked.
Well, no, I mean that again, you know, you've got the whole dumbing down thing, and
people don't have the attention span.
No. Well, again, that connects into what we said before about an emptiness and people without meaning, and you know, I'll admit, I mean, even though, you know, okay, I've done a lot of reading here and I've written a book and things like that, but even so, I mean, in terms of the depth of a lot of these people that are real initiates and spent whole lifetimes, you know, hours every day, and they've got, you know, but that kind of it just hardly exists now, sort of thing. And it's just and even so much of the brains of the ultimate brains supposedly of our society, you know, which is supposed to be the scientists and the people making AI and stuff.
Me, trust the science. You sound like a right-wing Nazi right now.
No, I'm not saying that's right, but I'm just saying even then that's with a very limited view. And again, now, like all these other religions, scientism, again, like all the other religions, has developed like this codified priesthood, and it's become the state religion for those enforcing power and a certain way of
I was
thinking.
talking to this girl at work, and just talking about universities, and I was like, I can't remember what the subject was brought up, and I was just like, but don't you understand? Your lecturers have learnt that knowledge from a book. Those lecturers have learnt that knowledge from a book. I said, and when you think of medicine and doctors, I said, 99.9% of them haven't done a science experiment to prove it. They've just read that, oh, that if you put that with that, you'll get that, or that means that tablet will do that. They haven't actually done it themselves. There's no actual original thought or actual research gone in. It's just, you know, if you say something, it's like Chinese whispers. The knowledge today is like Chinese whispers because people have been taught to not do their own thinking and their own research. So everything we learn today is like Chinese fucking whispers.
Second-hand opinions.
And Christ alive, when you actually do dig in and try to get to a nugget of truth, it's like a minefield. It really is. And not enough people are doing it. But when you do start scratching the surface, that's like tonight, you were going to talk about one thing. It leads off into 60 billion other things. Like I was saying, the knowledge is the mycelium, and it's been buried like, you know, mycelium, mushrooms' feet, and it's buried under the ground. But eventually, those mushrooms will pop up.
Well, I mean,
and we're foraging them.
Yeah, I like it.
We're like pigs, truffle pigs.
Yeah, speak to yourself.
No.
So I just had a thought. I mean, I was talking about alchemy of time, but yeah, it's all that centuries span that I've just been talking about. I mean, that is, again, you've got a base material. You could say it's like the base of the beginning of time. You're getting this transformation for all these years, but it's like a centuries long thing. And well, supposedly maybe things like the Henday Cross are pointing to a culmination of it.
We don't stand a chance, really. And to be fair,
we do stand a chance. Positive.
Back in the day, whenever that was, we used to live longer. I know they always say, oh no, you only lived when you were 30. I'm talking about before then. We used to live longer. Believe it or don't believe it, the bits in the Bible, it's not really whether or not you believe it or don't believe it, but there's evidence to show that whatever we are, humans, whatever that is, lived longer, which meant you could learn more. Everybody learned, Andy. But now, what are they doing? Oh, trust the science. It's doing us so much good. It's so much. Well, why are the why the birth rate's going down. Why are people not living as long? It's stopped and it's going backwards now. So you don't get a chance. You don't, and then they fill all your time with work, or they fill all your time with this, that, and the other, chasing money. So you don't. I mean, Christ Almighty, we're knackered just trying to do the little bit we do, aren't we?
Yeah.
But imagine if you had all day, every day to read and learn.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. Well, I am knackered, so I might have to.
Our ranks are growing. Let's end on a positive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh God!
Power to the people.
Well, hopefully there won't be a nuclear bomb in the night.
That's the spirit. Oh, it's the bloody end of the message.
That's not leaving on a positive.
Before the test card. Oh yeah, don't worry about the burglars coming in the window.
That's not leaving on
Sleep
a positive.
tight. Crime watch.
Yeah.
Oh,
let's hope we all survive the apocalypse. Let's hope the apocalypse doesn't happen tonight.
I was going to say they've got
because I've still got a couple of tea cakes I want for me breakfast.
Yeah, that's nice. Oh,
I might have them now just in case.
Let's go, peeps.
Right,
it's been lovely.
Everybody.
Thank you. We're not next week.
Oh, not next week.
Because Easter we're
eating chocolates.
Yeah,
so for Jesus,
family thing. So
eating chocolate for Jesus.
Please stay with us for the following week.
Yeah,
but we will post updates. And thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for sticking with us. We again, God knows why you do that, but we love you to bits, and we entertain ourselves. And thank you for coming with us on our entertainment of ourselves. Am I right?
Not wrong.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. No apocalypse tonight.
Yeah.
I've forgotten how to shut it off. Oh, here we go. Fingers crossed. That's not your fingers crossed.
Oh.
What are you doing?